Well, it's time. It's time. Yes, indeed. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. It's time to get down to the business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. Glad to be with you all here again. This afternoon, here as we go ahead and crank it up, we're doing a little bit of a special time here today because I wanted to just fit in something here. I don't really need a whole lot of attention for it, though we all know I'm going to get a whole lot of attention for it. And that's quite all right. That's par for the course. A few things I want to go ahead and weigh in on here. You know, maybe I should make this a part of bad advice. Maybe I should because there's just a whole lot of bad advice getting tossed around out there. And you need somebody who's going to come along and help get this corrected for you here because the misinformation is at an all-time high and the need for accurate analysis and dissecting is at an all-time high as well. So what I want to deal with here is the average guy. And, you know, I'm seeing a lot of fellas here. They're upset. They are in their feelings. They are mad because there is a call upon you to be extraordinary. Now, that used to not be anything controversial. Males used to desire to be extraordinary. They saw that as the hallmark and the measurement of their value. But today, now when you say that it is expected to be extraordinary, the first thing that they do is deflect to the females. So the emasculation is really complete in a lot of degrees. Single mothers, the bastard baby-making scourge of the earth, has basically turned the boys into female eunuchs. And now they've grown into adult males who, as soon as you tell them about how they are required to perform at a high level in order to validate themselves as males, they then start whining because they understand that they don't actually excel at anything, and then they start complaining, why do I got to be good at something? They don't get right there. Why you got to do that there? Why do I got to excel? Can't I just be mediocre? What's wrong with me the way I is? But if you're a loser the way you are, there's everything wrong with that. Nuh-uh! I'm the one who, I get to decide if I was a loser or not. Y'all can't just, I feels bad. Grown men talking about how they feel, not what they know, not what they can prove, but talking about how they feel. The emasculation is complete. But we are going to do our part in combating that and refuting that and setting things right. So what we're going to deal with here is something that's going to upset a lot of you guys, and I am thrilled, honored, and pleased to be able to do so. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss why it is that women hate average men. Women don't just dislike an average guy. Let's just be very, very clear about that. A woman doesn't just dislike a guy who is average. You are not just disliked, you are reviled. That's why so many guys today are upset and venting their incel, frustrated baby tantrum rage at females because the women ain't talking to you about it. They're just doing it. You can see that they have utter contempt. Utter contempt. And you don't have anything extraordinary about you, so you're angry, you're mad, you're throwing tantrums, you're whining, you're squealing. You're trying to run chicks over in your car. You're upset at family functions. You're throwing the turkey at people at Thanksgiving. You're mad. You're big mad. You're a big squealing, whiny ass sissy mad. Because the women have made it very clear that they revile you because you're average, because you thought there was a different set of rules. You thought that the standard had been lowered. The standard is not set by society. The standard is set by biology. And that goes for women and men. But we're talking to the fellas right now here tonight. Women hate an average male. They hate the average guy. When you tell them that they should be with an average guy, they immediately recoil. They start psychologically slitting their wrists. And your high-value posers, your MGTOW morons, your winosphere beta males masquerading as alphas and failing all the while, none of them have been able to explain to you why it is. So it falls to me here at the foundation to go ahead and clarify what all of them have been screwing up now. And once I gave them the facts of it, they've been trying to figure out how to reword it. But now that folks are on them and letting them know, hey, you didn't figure this out. You need to give thanks where you figured it out from so that you have a source for updating yourself because you're screwing up all the time. So now they're just in complete total disarray over there. Now they've been correcting themselves so often, they're in complete disarray. But we are here to make sure you get it straight. And you're going to be straight when we get done. So let's be very, very clear. Women hate average men. Why? Reason number one. The reason number one that women hate an average man is because a woman, physiologically, biologically, mentally, emotionally, she desires to be with a great man. She wants to be with a man who is great. By definition, greatness and average, i.e. mediocrity, are contradictory. You cannot be great and at the same time be average. You cannot be average and at the same time be great. Great is a class apart. Great has a clear distinction. Great and average are two totally diametrically opposed separate things. And no amount of your mediocre failure, but I understand you was raised by a single mama and you don't know how to excel at anything. You understand that you won't really have much to offer. Yeah, but the bottom line is the standard hasn't changed. The standard hasn't changed. Make sure you all are sharing this tonight. Do not complain about YouTube shadow banning. Likes are cool. I need shares. You need to share this. Let's go ahead and get the word out here. Because folks need to get corrected about this. A lot of misinformation. A woman wants to be with greatness. That is how she validates it to herself. She understands that there's a clear distinction between women and men. So how she qualifies herself is by gaining the acceptance and approval of a man who is great. Even though there are basic biological differences between a man and a woman, at the end of the day, she desires and covets the position of being accepted by he who is greatness. So when she is with the average guy, she automatically knows I can do better. So simply by being in your presence, she is subjected to contempt. She is forced to endure contempt because she knows she can do better. Because you are average and she knows there is greatness out there and she desires that. A woman wants to be with a man who is great. You can have all the Oprah Winfrey in the world. Oprah Winfrey has failed to convince women to accept being with average. She's failed. Because women understand there are hierarchies and there are levels. They understand that there are hierarchies and level in grade school, in college, in entry-level jobs. You cannot fool them and send them back into the ignorance of not knowing. They know that there is a hierarchy. They know that there are levels. And she wants to be at the highest level, and she understands she cannot get herself there. She desires to be that woman who sits next to the king. Kings are not average. Oh, I'm hurting the feelings of a lot of bastard baby boys out there right now. Bunch of you sat up here, you failed to graduate out of puberty. Grown-ass males sitting around here really just graduating to the 5th grade. I'm hurting some feelings. I thought you was going to be like the MGTOW whiners and tell me that I ain't got to do better and the females need to lower their expectations. I mean, well, they probably do. But just understand you ain't got no leverage to force the issue. Yeah, the females probably do need to lower their expectations, but not as a favor to you. You don't have the leverage. They don't have any reason or rationale for wanting to please you. And that's what you're really upset about. I thought they get desperate. No woman sees value in submitting to a loser. If she is lonely enough, she'll be psychologically beaten down, but just understand she is waiting for anything that even resembles an inkling of an offer to get something better, and out she goes, and you are angry and mad and on the internet raging and incelling and getting together with other losers complaining about them, because all of you know that you're all losing equally. You are mediocre. There is nothing great about you, and the women have made it very clear from their actions, not their words. They make it very clear and obvious to you. She wants greatness, and you are not great. So she has no problem expressing her contempt for you because you are not great. Biologically, she wishes to inspire greatness, but if you are average, there is nothing for that inspiration gene, that nurturing gene within her has nothing to latch on to. You're not great. Therefore, she hates you. She desires to be in the company of greatness, and you are not great. And even if she does not qualify to be in the company of greatness, she still has utter contempt for you because you are a reminder of that which she knows exists but cannot have. And utter contempt is all she can really galvanize for you. Like it or lump it, that's it. Welcome to brutal reality. Number 2, women are easily bored, and average guys are boring. Fellas, this is just a gut check time. You want to talk about the dude who drives the forklift at Home Depot. You want to talk about the dude who works at Five Guys. You want to talk about the dude who has the job, driving the truck for the moving company. Average guys, and they're boring. The average male doesn't have anything going on. The average male is simple. That's the reality. The average male doesn't have an extraordinary intellect. He doesn't have an extraordinary capability. He doesn't have anything extraordinary in his life. It's a boring dirge from one day to the next. And just like the females pretend that they're prettier than they are, the fellas fantasize to themselves that their life is more exciting than it is. Guys, women don't give a damn about the engine in your Mazda 6, your anime collection, or your manga collection. Women really don't give a damn about any of that. They don't care if you're the world champion at Call of Duty. They don't care about any of those things. Your life is boring. She's looking to see how does any of that enhance her. Oh, wait a minute, it doesn't. The average male today is an overgrown teenager. He's not progressing. He's not getting anything done. And she has seen men who are. So as soon as she meets Mr. Average, she immediately begins to conjure contempt. She immediately begins to conjure contempt. There's nothing special about you. There's nothing extraordinary about you. When she sees you in the morning, she knows same dress, same everything. Nothing is going to change. The female psyche detests stagnation. Why? Because females biologically want to improve the species. Or at least she tells herself in her mind she is. But if she's with the average guy, then she knows there's nothing great that's going to come from us mixing DNA. There isn't going to be anything extraordinary from me giving birth to your genes. I wish I had a better option than you. But I have only a limited amount of time to have children, and if this bum ass is the only thing I got access to, damn it. Because I'm on the clock. But man, oh man, if a better option comes along, I'm taking it. And most of these guys are mediocre. Most of them are average. And they bristle and are stung and offended and mortally wounded at the offense and the contempt the females hold you in, because if you're average, the average male today is boring. He's been at the same job in the same city doing the same routine. Now, that is actually a hallmark of stability. Well, yes, a man should have, there should be some things that are repetitive in your life. That's a hallmark of stability. But at the same time, just understand, stagnation is an anti-aphrodisiac. It's an anti-attractant to females. It's a repellent. Stagnation is a repellent to females. You don't have to like it just because you've lived a boring life. You look here and take it from me. I was a nerd. I still am. But I'm not boring. Just because you might be a guy who's erudite, that doesn't mean you have to be boring. There's some street dudes who are boring as hell. Women are not really attracted to that. So just understand, the average guy is boring, and females, that is yet another reason why females hate the average man. Next, a woman can't submit to an average man because he reminds her of another woman. Oh, man. Well, they're going to be damned offended at that one. Oh, they're going to be damned offended at me for saying that one. Boy, maybe I should have just left that one alone right there. Let me just tell you right here, if you're average, if you're a guy who is average in this society today, a woman is incapable of distinguishing you from another chick. If you are a man who is not extraordinary, she doesn't see any distinction between you and another female. She doesn't see what you can do that another chick can't do. And women, by definition, have contempt for other women. If you're a guy who is manhood is defined as extraordinary. If you are a guy who is average, that's another way of saying, oh, you's a hoe. You're just like me. You're another chick. And just like men are not aroused and excited by females who have masculine traits and tomboyism, that's cute when we're younger. When we get to be grown men, we don't want another chick running to us like, yo, 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 what's up, dog? When we were much younger, that was tomboyish. We thought that was cute. I don't want some 25, 30-year-old female running up on me. What's up, bruh? Trying to give me dap. Hey, you remind me of another dude. I don't give a damn if she looks like Beyonce or Lori Harvey. You remind me, I'm done. You remind me of another dude. Well, fellas, that's the effect you have on a woman when you are average. You remind her of another chick. And there's nothing attractive to her about being courted, being with, quote, being under the protection of another broad. She wants a man. If the extraordinary factor is not there, then it takes the luster and the luminance off of manhood. She has a ideal definition of what manhood is, and even if she doesn't know how to necessarily define it, she knows how it makes her feel when she's in that presence. She knows what to expect, and she knows how it makes her feel. And that's what she's going off of. That's what she's going off of. Not a game, not a joke. The women will not articulate it this way, but I'm telling you, and take a look, the females are not arguing. They're all saying, yep, you know what, he sure is right. Don't believe me. Ask the females if what I'm saying is accurate. They'll bear me witness. Next up, fellas, there's character flaw after character flaw. You see being the average guy as being harmless. Females do not see being average as being harmless. They see being average as an existential threat to her being. You're going to have to understand that. When you are average, you are viewed as an existential threat to her being. You're an existential threat. She doesn't see that as mildly annoying. She sees that as an existential threat. She needs answers. And the average guy is rich in excuses and low expectations. There it is. The average guy doesn't specialize in answers. The average guy specializes in excuses and setting low expectations. A woman is looking biologically to submit, and you have presented her with nothing to submit to. A woman cannot submit to that which is equal to her. So when you say, let's go 50-50, you are telling her we are equals. Since I got to spell it out for you here, when you tell a woman, let's go 50-50, all you really just said is that you are setting the expectation that she is your equal. Then by definition, she cannot submit to you because we are equals. So you want her to be equal when you want and yet submit when you want without any of the dynamic between the two of you changing. You are her equal. So long as you are her equal, at the end of the day, there will not be baseline respect. There will be baseline contempt. That is what it is. That is female nature. Female nature towards a male who she sees as her equal. She sees you as another female, and thus she sees you as someone to have contempt for. That is it. You cannot debate it. You cannot argue it. You can rage post as much as you want. You can squeal as much as you like. You can downvote as much as you please. It will not change the reality that you live in. And the reason why you mad and upset and angry is because, you're being subjected to it. You're being subjected to it. In the chat room, it's got nothing to do with the state. Grow up. Grow up. That is not the issue here. We're talking about biology. Grow up. I know it's a struggle for some, but grow up, man. I know it's late in the day, but give it a shot. Just might work. Females despise excuses because in the female mind, she believes that other women are not hearing those excuses, or it is confirmation that she has made the wrong choice. When a male is presenting a woman with nonstop excuses, then that is simply confirmation to her that she has made the wrong choice. Remember what I taught you all. Females do not leave when there is certainty. Females leave when there is uncertainty. Females exercise hypergamy when there is certainty. When she is certain that she's seen everything you are, when she is certain that it's not going to change, that's what makes females leave, is certainty. What makes them stay, what makes them not attempt to exercise their options, is when they are uncertain. And when you confirm, when you make it certain to her that she has made the wrong decision, when you keep coming back with a litany of excuses and low expectations, day after day, year after year, you have confirmed that she has made the wrong choice. Now feels that she is certain there's nothing extra to you. There's nothing more. She's seen the best you got, and she better go take a shot at risking it all and trying it with somebody else than to stay where she is. That's just the bottom line. Next up, this dovetails off of point number 4. With the average guy, what you see is what you get. Fellas, look, your MGTOW morons, high value posers, alpha male idiots, other assorted morons on the internet, they don't know any of this. They don't know power dynamics. I give not a damn about dating, but I can tell you a lot about power dynamics and how to flip and shift the power dynamic between two individuals. And when you're talking about an interpersonal relationship with a female, we got to go to what motivates her and what she's afraid of. Because cost-benefit ratio analysis is essential in life, it's essential in business, it's essential in school, it's essential in decisions, and it is essential in relationships. And women weigh the cost-benefit like men. Now, they don't usually weigh it as quickly and efficiently as we do, but eventually they do. And with the average guy, what you see is what you get. So as soon as a woman feels that she is certain that what she sees, that there's nothing more to you, then that's it. The contempt clicks over into overdrive. Why? Because women are attracted to mystery. A woman doesn't want to know everything about you. A woman doesn't want to see every facet of you. That's why you can't break down in tears boo-hooing in front of her all the time. You can't show her your full spectrum of emotions because and the women are always going to tell you that's okay. No, it is not. When you reveal everything about yourself to women, you have eliminated any air of mystery about you whatsoever. And the unknown is a powerful factor and drive in female behavior. Too many of you guys sit up here and a woman does not want to lead you. She wants you to lead, including what you will not say. You don't have to say much to a woman. You just get to doing it. Get to doing it. She's going to ask a bunch of questions. She's looking for you to say, mind your business. Mind your business. The rent got paid this month. How'd you pay the rent this month? Bag up. Mind your business. I want to see the bank account. Fall back. We ain't up. I ain't for it. Fall back. Well, I think I should see. This is a dictatorship, not a democracy. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is it's paid. All you need to know is the job got done. All you need to know is when I took you shopping, none of the security sensors went off at the damn gate of the door of the store saying it was stolen. You don't have to do all that. Furthermore, she doesn't want you to do all that. If you show a female a bank account with $10 million in it, she's going to be ecstatic at first. And then after a couple of weeks, she's going to be like, why come it ain't 20 million? You don't need to be doing that. You don't need to do that at all. Period. And with the average guy, you average fellas, what you see is what you get, and that is exactly the issue that they have about it. They get it. They understand. They know. So fellas, when you eliminate the air of mystery, when the job that you have right now is all you got. And that's all she's ever seen. And that's all she's ever known. And there is absolutely no indication whatsoever that is going to change. Then what she sees is all she's going to get. And immediately you are sowing the seeds that she needs to make changes. When the job you have, the car you drive, the clothes you wear, the physique you have, when that is all there is, she now believes she knows everything about you that there is to know, and you have begun to sow the seeds of contempt, and that's where it will start to deteriorate. And a lot of these fellas today are upset because you are an open book. You don't have any unseen capabilities. There's nothing about you that surprises her. Contempt is natural. That would be natural among other men. What do you think is going to happen with a woman? Other men will develop contempt if they believe that everything they've seen is all you got. What do you think is going to do for the female? Oh man, I'm hurting their feelings right now. A lot of bastard baby boys, their mamas never told them this. I'm hurting their feelings. Oh well, I guess I better keep going then. I was going to ease off the gas, but guess I gotta keep it going. Last but not least, from the program that laid the foundation and explained this and why it is all these other folks who attempt to talk on this subject, they attempt to do so and they fail because none of them were able to explain it to you in simple English. The number one reason why women hate average men is because the average guy today is struggling. With the average black male income somewhere between $36,000 and $42,000 a year, the average black male is struggling. And females immediately readily identify this. You're struggling. So she has to make a decision whether or not she wishes to be with Mr. Struggle. These other fellas couldn't figure it out. They didn't know how to encapsulate it because they don't know. They're on the internet whining about what women need to give them. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Let's take a look at the beginning of the issue is with you. What's the problem? Well, the average guy is struggling. A brutal reality, and you're sitting up here wanting to tell everybody about why it is they need to understand why you struggling and what, this thing's holding me back. It's rough out here for a pimp. Okay, just understand the female cannot eat your excuses. She can't wear them. She can't get her status elevated by them. She immediately recognizes them. Your excuses do not motivate her. The average guy is struggling. So when you present a female the opportunity of a relationship with you, you are really saying, come and share in my struggle. To which she says, well, that means you have a financial problem. As a male, I expect you to solve your financial problems. If you are struggling, that means that you have failed to solve your financial problem. If I get with you, both of us will have a financial problem then. That is the reality. I see some bastard baby boys in the chat room trying to deflect onto the females. Well, the females is struggling. The females is bad. The females is average. You don't look now. Don't look now. You're showing your thongs. You're showing your thongs, fellas. You're acting like the hoes now. Let's be very, very clear. Let's be very, very clear. That's hoe behavior. Men ain't supposed to do that. So don't look now, but you're showing your hoe behavior. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know. No woman wants to struggle. Women don't like to struggle. They don't like to change their own car tires. Gravity is a struggle. Females learn from a very early age that they are disadvantaged in the environment relative to men. Females do not like to struggle. Biologically, their bodies are more fragile. They have to incubate babies. Biologically, struggle is anathema to them. They understand that. The reptilian part of their brain avoids struggle. And a male who sits up here and invites struggling, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. A male who invites struggle to her, that's going to be an issue when you do that. That's going to be an issue. In the chat room, Big Will Gaming. Yeah, he sounds like a high achiever. Doesn't sound at all like he's parked in front of a game console for his life. You're going to need to call in. We're going to open up the phone lines here in a few moments. And you will be the first one to call in, or you'll be the fifth or sixth one banned today. Whichever. Doesn't really matter. He's in the presence of men now, and he realizes he doesn't meet the standards, so he feels some kind of way. Why y'all talking all this manhood stuff, though? That rough on me over here. Give me my Crash Bandicoot. I don't see why the women can't just go with my Crash Bandicoot. Hell, we can go 50-50. Can't we have a partnership? I put 50 on the PlayStation. You put another 50 on the PlayStation. These hoes are stuck up. They don't like no video games. Big ass overgrown baby boys. And they even look it today. These dudes don't even look like grown men. They're in their 20s and 30s looking like teenagers. In the face. They are physiologically regressing. And nobody told them how pathetic they are because your daddy was pathetic. Mama was pretty pathetic too, and there you are. Which brings me to my next thing right here. Oh, don't worry. Oh, I came fully prepared. To deal with the broke, bummy, mediocre excuses. See, I know you niggas. You guys are pathetic. Everybody knows what you are, which is why I was like, okay. And by the way, you know what their pathetic responses are going to be, right? You know what their pitiful responses are going to be. Oh yeah, we're ready for you. This should show just how slow and pitiful you really are. It really should be a big wake-up call for you. It won't be for a lot of them because they're used to losing, but just thought I'd go ahead and take that as a moment to let you know that, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, we're fully aware, we're fully prepared for that, and it's not something that set up here and took us by surprise. We get it. The first thing that these guys say, you know who you are in the chat room, you know who was saying it now. Nuh-uh, keep that same energy. These women want an extraordinary man, yet she's an average woman herself. Let's be very, very clear about something here. Here's something the bastard baby boys don't get. You sit up here and say these women want an average man to be extraordinary, but she's average herself. The problem with that logic is that women don't actually expect themselves to be the extraordinary one. They expect you to be the extraordinary one, and she just has to follow your lead. Oh, but if you're a broke little bummy ass, mediocre, immature baby boy, you can't lead anybody. So of course you're terrified for a woman to say, okay, get to leading. Well, I got to lead. Can't we sit down and figure out what we're going to do? So now you just told her you ain't got a plan. A woman is looking for you as the man to be the extraordinary one. She does not expect to be extraordinary herself. By definition, she is looking to submit. She doesn't see being extraordinary as her burden. She sees being extraordinary as your burden, not hers. So you are upset and angry and mad and frustrated because she is not attempting to sit up here and be extraordinary. Didn't say you had to like it. Them's the breaks. That's reality. That's just reality. So if you want to know where you screwed up at in the first place you screwed up at is that The woman, you talk about these women are not extraordinary. The women do not feel, a woman doesn't feel she needs to be the extraordinary one. You need to be the extraordinary one. You set the tone, and then she meets that standard. That is what happens. Women don't know what the standard is until men tell them, until men demonstrate it. Then she knows what the standard is. Too many of you are looking to be treated like your mama. Too many of you are looking to be treated like your mama did. So you're looking for a female to sit up here and tell you that you're equal. So that you can say, see, she's asking too much. No, the standard is always supposed to be higher for you. You are supposed to be extraordinary. And then when you assume your position as a man, which most of you are not capable of doing anymore, which is why what I'm saying tonight really offends you, because I'm saying, you're supposed to assume the position of a man. Well, you're offended at that because, oh man, but I would actually have to bring home the bacon and deliver results. And I'm just an average guy. So when you look around, all the guys you see are failing to perform. There's nothing special about them. So when you're told you need to be special, you get offended. Why do I gotta be special? All these other dudes out here, they ain't special. And then you all wonder why the females are flocking to lay up with the top 20%. They would rather double up and triple up with the top 20% than to be with a bottom 80%er who's going nowhere. There's nothing extraordinary about you, which means that you do not have the ability to transform her into something extraordinary. That's the part that she's not going for. That's the part she's not going for. Oh, I know, I'm hurting some feelings. Some of the baby boys are mad. They rage posting. I don't like this here. He want to say what the female's funny he is. Look, for a lot of you dudes today, manhood just ain't for you, man. Manhood just ain't for you. Put on your Huggies. Put on your little booties or your little footies. You're wearing your onesie. Grown-ass males, there's a bunch of y'all niggas need to be wearing a onesie. And just call it a life. Don't even call it a day. You're already done. You are offended at hearing manhood. Manhood upsets you. Call the Gerber Life people. Get you one of them little jars of baby food with a little plastic spoon or one of those little plastic wooden flat spoony things. So you can just lap it up and just carry your ass, man. Manhood isn't for you. This isn't for you, man. It's just not. It's not. Go get you your Charlie Brown onesie and be done with it. But manhood ain't for you, dude. It ain't for you. If this is bothering you, it is because manhood, you're just not cut out for it. You are not cut out for manhood. That's all. Don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. Manhood is above you. Don't be mad. Be big mad. But just understand, it's above you. Next up, the next excuse/response from the average dudes. Understand, we know how you whiny ass childish baby boys talk about everything. Well, these females, they need to quit treating me like that there because you see what it is I don't have above average accomplishments. And I don't have above average status, but I do have above average personality and an above average IQ. So these females need to respect my personality and my IQ. That's what they need to do. All right, let me tell you something, dumbass. It's a pretty pathetic male who sits up here and attempts to resort to invoking intangible metrics of value. You're asking a female to value something that she cannot see, cannot touch, cannot feel. Then you'll turn around and complain about TD Jakes and Creflo Dollar. At least they got a limo and a jet. But there's nothing signals how pathetic you are than to be a man who starts invoking intangibles. Give me credit for my personality. Well, personality has what numerical value? Well, you want somebody to sit and hold your hand and sit on the couch. I like watching Netflix and soap operas and nigga. And then you wonder why women hate average males today. Because these are the responses that average males give when you tell them why women hate average males. These are the responses. You saw them in the chat room already. And I already had these typed up because this is what they say all the time. I should get credit. Well, the females are not extraordinary. Why do I gotta be extraordinary? Well, I have a great personality. You know what? Lizzo's big wobbly ass, she thinks she has a great personality too. So the greatness of your personality is a personal opinion. It does not actually have a solid quantitative value. Oh, I know I'm hurting your feelings because you thought you were able to trade on what you call game. But let's just be very, very clear. At the end of the day, a female is ultimately at some point going to start demanding concrete tangibles. She's going to start demanding it. And if you can't deliver, guess who's going to get voted off the island? And by the way, that goes for females and males, because if you approach other men and there are no concrete tangible benefits to knowing you, we start looking for a way to remove you from the island too. Next, another pathetic, sorry, bum-ass response. When you tell these guys how much women hate average men, then they start trying to pull out their imaginary options. I'll get me a woman from another community or location and she'll appreciate me being average. Fellas, there are a bunch of you who are operating in as much delusion as a lot of these females are, and it's pathetic because men are supposed to understand that when you operate under delusions, you die. When you are a man who traffics in delusions, you die. You die. And that's the problem. That's the problem. There is no enclave of females in Brazil or Ecuador or Colombia or anywhere else who are looking for an average guy. You know how we know that? Because the American dollar is worth more than any of their currencies. And the whole reason that you niggas talk about going to go meet women outside of America is because you think that the currency you have makes you extraordinary in those places. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you that these women have already rejected the average guy where they live. These women have already rejected the average males where they're from. They're not looking to import another average male. Furthermore, the women here, every woman knows it now. Guys, the reverse psychology is not working. You're not scaring the women by threatening to take your sub-mediocre ass to some other female. That's not making the female, ooh, I better get my act together so I can keep me this piece of a male. You're not even a whole male. Well, let me keep this piece of one. See if I can hold on to that there. That could work out. Fellas, you're going to have to deliver the goods. You're going to have to deliver the goods. That's just it. You're not going to get around that. You're going to have to. And fantasy talk is not going to move the needle. You are going to have to bring actual results. These women are coming from other countries. They're here in America now. Women all over the world are the same. There's some idiot morons on the internet. You ain't been nowhere. Folk who actually have been or traveled to cities where these females are coming from all over the world. The women all over the world are the same. None of them are looking for the average guy. In the Middle East, they're all trying to get booed up with a sheik. In South America, they're all trying to get booed up with some rich American industrialist or the dope dealers. In Asia, they're trying to get with the businessmen or the aspiring rappers. Women everywhere are the same. None of them are impressed by your mediocrity. All of them want a man who is extraordinary. All of them. All of them. And you don't want to hear that because you wanted to believe that your fantasy, that there's some hidden mystery enclave of females who are perfect 10s who can't wait to get a hold of your bum ass. You were hoping that was going to happen. And no, it's not happening. Not now, not ever. If you are pathetic in America, you will be pathetic anywhere else. If you are pathetic in black society, you will not be valued somewhere else. Extraordinary is valued wherever it goes. Now, there may be varying degrees of how much is valued. Might be valued in some areas more than others, but extraordinary is valued and valuable wherever it goes. Average and mediocre is hated and despised wherever it is and wherever it goes. And that is never going to change. So those are the major reasons why women hate average men, as well as refuting the responses, the predictable, pathetic responses that the average guys who are still wallowing in delusion will give. But enough from me. The telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the program that laid the foundation upon which all of your red pill, MGTOW, high-value posers, alpha male wannabes, and other assorted idiots have stolen and ripped off everything that they're going to regurgitate to you all next week. You're going to hear it here today, and then they're all going to go screw it up and go try to remix it and serve it back next week. But hear it now before they go and screw everything up. We got the telephone lines open. We're going to go ahead and I might as well go ahead and take a few phone calls here. If you have been instructed by my mods to call in or by me, that was not a request. You must call in or you must be banned. I'm cool with it either which way. Let's go ahead and get the phone lines open here. Let me get caller from area code 832. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Jerry calling out of Houston.
Jerry out of Houston. What's on your mind?
Hey, I agree with you 100%, and I do believe that every man should strive to be extraordinary. My question to you is this. If a man is to be extraordinary and he's to fulfill basically a woman's biological drive to be the highest possible male, which is fulfilling her drive, do you think that a woman, which must also accept a man's biological drive to be with, at least have the option to be with many women if he is in that position? Or do you think this is a double standard that needs to be there?
Okay, you know, there are a lot of folk here who are trying to act like selection among men is some novelty today. And I guess these guys who claim to know all these things, I mean, this is new to them. This is new to all of them. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, this is new to you dudes. Y'all are in no position to lecture anybody if you didn't know this. Brother, selection for an extraordinary man is a given. It is a given among the men and has always been. Also, it is a given among the women and has always been. Ain't no need to talk about it unless there are some specific details you feel the need to hash out. But she already knows this. Furthermore, she already expects it. She has already accepted it. Well, we don't understand this modern era because you haven't had enough fathers who have enough sense out here to go ahead and educate folk. And then you got folk on the internet pretending they know these things. Women are always trying to get the max. They're always trying to ratchet their price up. A woman knows that the only thing she's really trading on is her presence, femininity, and sexuality. She knows that. So what's she going to try to do? If she knows that's all she has to offer to an extraordinary man, to a producer, then what is she going to do? Well, of course, she's going to try to figure out what's the ceiling? What is the most I can get? So she's going to try to figure out, okay, well, he's better than most of these other guys out here. Of course, there's going to be a cost. Of course there is. If I want to be with him, of course other women do. He's not like these other dudes who don't have the option of saying no to me. Now, when men have circles of men where they understand this and they actually get to associate with guys who are in a different hierarchy, it's different. Today you have a bunch of average dudes. The vast overwhelming majority of guys are average today. So you got average dudes doing like the average females, circulating misinformation. They don't really understand the females. They're all equally confused. They can set up a YouTube channel and get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and the information they're giving out is confusing because they don't know. It is a given. The females want you to believe that there's a negotiation going on. Because of course, she would love to have exclusivity, even though she knows biologically this makes no sense. But then again, there are a lot of contradictions that females deal in. Every day.
Very true.
So the real thing about it is making sure that you know it is a given when you are a man who operates at a certain level. I need to put that caveat on there. You can't be the average guy and expect extraordinary benefits. You can't be the average guy looking like everybody else, producing at the level of everybody else, and think you're going to come through talking about my biological prerogative. Man, if you don't sit your ass down. Because even in the animal kingdom, every lion doesn't get to have his pick of the litter. If you're the weak one, you the lame one, you're the timid one, you don't get to mate with nobody. Okay, thank you. Once again, these other dudes out here, your posers, fakers, whiners, they didn't say any of this to you all. And they won't. They learned it just now, just like you just did. So look for them to try to reword it next week. No offense. Just letting you all know. If y'all actually would like to get the scoop on these things and hear it well in advance, you need to be here. You don't get to just mate with everybody. If you're weak, if you're lame, you don't get to. If you have to be extraordinary, even in the animal kingdom, to have selection. You don't just get selection because you think because you sitting up here, oh boy, I wish I could give me a hold of something. No. So once you have extraordinary ability, extraordinary benefit, everything about your life is extraordinary. It's a given. We live in an era where the single mothers have conditioned the sons to believe that it's not a given, that there's something else going on. Can't tell you what it is, can't define it, can't explain it, can't articulate it, but there's something else. And then you see how the females act when you're in grade school. All the females are trying to sleep with the same star athletes. College, when you start making money. So the females' actions go one way, but their words go another way. So they tell you what this isn't what they want. Then you take a look at their actions and like, well, I'll be damned, this is what you're doing though. So we have to stop letting them tell us their sales pitch. I'm telling you guys right now, fellas, stop giving in to the sales pitch. That is a sales pitch. If you are an extraordinary fella, by definition, it is a given. It's a given.
Yep.
That is all. It's a given.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Well, today. Let me get caller from area code 248. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on live. What is your
me?
name? Where are you calling
I'm
from?
sorry, I expect. Name is Stanley, calling from Detroit.
Stanley from Detroit, what's on your mind?
Well, all my life I've called myself average, and I'm wondering if I've been doing myself a grave disservice. I guess I have a decent job. Was able to move my wife and kids out of public housing to a pretty decent neighborhood. So, I guess I'd like to know your thoughts on that.
Average is relative
And-
to
and
the
here's-
okay. Average is relative
ahead.
to the female that you are dealing with.
We're both from the same community, public housing.
Okay. Well, here's what you all need to understand. The bar that, and I've taught you all this before, and now the other guys out there took this from me also. They screwed it up when they tried to reword it. Fellas, stop rewording it to try to throw people off the trail. Give it to the people the way I gave it to you over there, all right? Take a look at your woman's last 2 to 3 boyfriends. That's the standard right there. That's the best.
I've been with her since she was
Okay,
13.
okay, slow down. Take a look at her last 2 or 3 boyfriends. That's the standard. That's the best she could do. Right there. You don't have to do better than Jay-Z or Kanye. You just got to do better than them. That is it. But Jason, yes. But Jason, yes. This my high school sweetheart. We've been together since we was teenagers. What do you say to that? Take a look at her previous 2 or 3 boyfriends. I guarantee you were not the first dude she was talking to, smooching with, whatever. You were not. You weren't. Especially if y'all came from public housing. Dude, you weren't. Now, the fact that she has not had a wealth of experience, or at least maybe we shouldn't go into the salacious details, but the bottom line is, okay, she may have not had a tremendous amount of adult experiences. That's great. If you can find one who hasn't, I think that's fine. I think that's wonderful. The same rule applies. Her wealth of experience and what she was able to pull is going to determine the bar that you have to clear. So it looks like you started talking to her before you all entered the real world of economics and finance and actually paying for life. So she hasn't really had anybody to compare you to. That is a good situation to be in, but it's also a perilous one. Do you understand why?
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and articulate
how bad things are?
Well, go ahead and articulate for everyone. Why is it that that's a good position to be in? Because she hadn't been run through, hopefully, by a bunch of dudes. Certainly not in her adult years. But it also puts you in a precarious, perilous situation also. Why?
Because she has nothing to compare me to.
And if, depending on how she looks, if she gets an offer, what are you going to be able to say? That's the thing you all need to keep in mind. So she hasn't had a lot of sexual partners. She hasn't seen a whole lot. But if you don't keep making sure you keep the standard high, she may run into somebody who does. Now, does she work?
Yes.
Okay. Does she have a degree?
No.
Does she work at a job that pays more than $15 an hour?
Just a bit.
Okay. What size does she wear?
8, maybe 10.
Okay. How many kids y'all done had? You say 2 kids?
3.
Okay. Well, she's an 8, but she works. She's a wears a size 8 or 10, but she does work, so she does meet other people. So I would not recommend you rest on your laurels if you can avoid it. Because if she meets other people, she has a boss, she has a supervisor. Does she work for a large company or does she work for a regional or small company?
Small.
Okay, that means she has access to the owner of the business.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you see what I'm saying here? This is the man who pays her bills and pays her salary. So he makes much more than she does. So right there.
So do I.
Okay, sir. Right there, she's already got access to a male who is competitive. Right there. I don't care what you make. This guy has a business that's employing her. She's got access to
An
him.
old white dude.
She's got access to... Okay, do I even need to go down this road? Do you really want us to go here with that one? He's an old white dude. Okay, brother, do you really want us to go there with it? Because we can go there if you want to go there, but I'm going to ask you first. Do you want to put on these roller skates?
I guess I'm having a trouble seeing that one, but
Sir, the road to hell is paved with so many males who said, I never thought my female would do something like that.
right.
Bruh. Come on now. Come on. We supposed to be older than this. My female would never do that. Okay. I can't believe she do that there. All right, y'all. With him? All right. Okay. All right. Bruh, like I say, I'm not going to... everybody, I'm not gonna wade off into it as much as you all think I'm going to. I'm just gonna say, bruh, think that one over. Just think that one over for a little bit. If you think it over for a little bit, you'll just realize, those are famous last words. They really are. They really are. And I'm not here to besmirch a lady's character. I'm here to talk to you as a man.
Right. I'm receptive also.
So,
to what you say.
All I can say, brother, is that power does not respect weakness. Power respects power. What kind of car does she drive?
Lincoln.
What year?
Lincoln SUV.
What year?
2008. 2008.
Okay. So that means what, a MKZ?
X.
Okay, MKX. Well,
right.
You know that new Aviator's out.
I was trying to talk her into getting the Tesla, but she didn't want it.
Well, the Lincoln Aviator costs a hell of a whole lot more than the MKX and the MKZ ever did. Whole lot nicer, too.
Right.
So, like I say, bruh, I'm just saying, right now she pushing something that's old enough to go to high school. I don't want to get into what her boss could lease for her. I don't want to get into that. What I am saying is you don't want to be a competition. So all I'm saying is keep your game tight, but just understand that if you're asking me where you stand at, I'm a firm believer that you must keep improving. You have to give a woman something to lose. You can never rest on your laurels. See, the big problem that we have is males. And this is an issue for males and females. But I want to talk to the guys right now. Big issue that we have is that you get into your heads that there is some bank of value somewhere where you are storing up equity. Now, I've talked about this before. We tend to think that there's some bank of value somewhere where you're storing up equity with your female. Take a look at all the stuff I did for you. Take a look at all the stuff I got. Remember that trip to Barbados? Remember when I took you to Nordstrom and bought you them shoes? And not to say that those things do not matter, but when we get into our heads that those things give us equity, and that during periods or stretches of non-performance, we can draw down against that equity. Well, I don't have to deliver results for the next 5 years. I can just remind her of what I did the previous 36 months. And that will carry me for the next 5 years.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And women will not tell you that she's either dissatisfied or that she feels like she can do better. We have to be wise enough to understand that is female nature. That's female nature.
Right.
Just the same as if she starts withholding sex, she shouldn't be surprised if you come home smelling like another woman's perfume. That's male nature.
Right.
She can't even sit there and get mad about that. It's like, wait a minute, you didn't know he was a man? You thought that was going to go over well? Because it serves you? So we have to understand this. We can leave holes in the game if we want to, man. But you need to let her know you're going somewhere. Like I say, uncertainty is what cancels hypergamy. Certainty is what feeds it. And if she is certain that her boss can do something you can't, or that a supplier for her boss or whatever, just understand those are potential areas of vulnerability.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I do all right. I mean, I'm no slouch financially, but.
Okay, but you can't compare yourself to yourself. You have to compare this is a mistake that black men make. We like to compare ourselves to other black males or to that's what I just said, that bank of equity you're talking about. So you're giving examples and giving a metric that serves you. You're not giving an objective metric because you feel like you know this woman so well, and that's what I'm going back to she would never do X, Y, Z. And I certainly hope it wouldn't. But here's the problem. What's to stop her? And that's what men have to understand. Well, I don't think she would ever do that. I hope she never does. But what's to stop her?
Should she lose the house?
Okay,
she lose me.
Okay, but she lose the house, but she'll gain an old white man, and she can get her Anna Nicole Smith on. Yeah, because you said old white man. You said old white man. You ain't thinking like a female.
Right.
You're not thinking like a female. A female hears easy to knock off resources. That's what a female hears. See, as men, we don't think that way because we don't really think to knock off another dude's resources like that. We certainly don't. We don't think to knock off a woman's resources like that if you're not struggling. Females, that's the way they think. Right. So what she's like is, hey, I got an option. And you telling me she from the housing project, so don't tell me she ain't got that spirit in her. I'm not going to say it's super heavy, but the potential is there. It's there. I'm a firm believer that uncertainty is what neutralizes those things. So I'm not even saying you're not doing the right things. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is you got to stay on your square constantly. You're going to have to constantly stay on your square.
Absolutely.
How much are you making a year right now?
130, 131.
Not bad. It's not bad at all. You certainly want to start having more investments, passive sources of income. You're going to have to double that number.
Yep.
If you're making 130, you really need to double that number again. Because once you double that number again, you've created permanent uncertainty. Because at that point, you've elevated so high that the idea of trying to cash that in, what the hell are you going to cash that in for? It becomes too precarious. Right. At that point, it would be very difficult to believe other men when they say they're going to do X, Y, Z. It would be very difficult for her to believe any of those quote potential offers or flirtations or whatever, because she's going to be like, okay, I'm already used to a guy who makes $200,000 a year. And remember, women always want to upgrade, not downgrade. So by you raising the bar that high, she going to have to go get somebody making $300,000 to have a real difference in what her life would be. She'd have to go bag somebody doing that. And then got to make sure he break bread, because she's not going to sit there for a potential $300,000. She's like, wait. Let me get this handbag. When you going to get this handbag first, and then we will see about progressing to the next step. So he's going to have to start outlaying funds. He's going to have to give concrete tangibles. He can't just give talk, because she's like, I'm already sitting up with a dude in the top 3%. I'm not going to give that up for potential. So what it does is it makes the hurdles very high. It makes them very high. It makes them very difficult. Now, could she do something dumb and lay it with the pool boy? Yeah, I mean, that could always happen. But once again, she's got something to lose. You can't prevent stupid people from doing stupid things. That's not your job. It would be dumb. It would be stupid. But then again, if that was the case, you knew she had that in her already.
Right.
But your job is to make sure it's an unappealing thing for that. But all I can say right there is, I mean, you may be doing everything okay, but I'm a firm believer a man cannot rest on his laurels. A man has to remain producing and stay producing. He has to demonstrate to his female that we're going somewhere. Keep in mind, Dr. Dre had all them baby mamas, but old girl, his wife stuck with him for 20 years. Why do you think that was? Because she understood something that Michelle A. did not understand. Michelle A. thought that getting that record deal at Death Row, that was the best Dre could do. She thought he had peaked. But what's her face, who married him, she understood Death Row was not his peak. Them other baby mamas didn't understand this. She did. And when he got that deal with Beats, she was like, okay, that's the peak right there. Waiter, check please.
Hey, about doubling the income, where's the best place to go to find out what to do, how to do?
Well, you've got options for that depending on how much money you have in the bank, okay? Because with the you got a wife and kids and stuff like that. You always have the option of getting a financial planner if you want to do that, if you want them to manage your funds for you, depending on what you have in the bank. Because if you got $20,000 in the bank, it's not a whole lot you can do there. You have $100,000 in the bank, you can make some things happen. So it really just depends on what you have to work with and what your knowledge base is for it. I'm a big believer, like I say, if folk want to talk to me privately about those things, I can go more in depth, because now we're getting into some specifics that require creatives, and that's different. But if you have $100,000 in the bank, and you have the option of either investing it in a business if you choose to, or giving the funds to a financial planner and they can manage it for you. Now, they'll get like 1 or 2%, but those are options that you do have as well. Anything more specific than that, and I would need to ask a lot more in-depth questions that I have to take responsibility for. So we would have to have a different type of conversation for something specifically like that. Because when I say invest in a business, the first thing people have in their heads is getting a McDonald's or something like that. Well, that's one option. But like, for example, what do you do for a living?
Engineer, software.
You're a software engineer. Okay, so you write codes. Like I say, I mean, you live in Detroit, and we all know, they brought in some tech companies to Detroit. It ain't nowhere near the level of San Francisco or even Austin right now, but we know what they've done up there in the meantime. So it's nothing to sneeze at, not at all. It is not anything to sneeze at. But like I say, I mean, if you have enough networking connections to be able to do something with that, that's up to you. Once again, like I say, depending on what your credit is and how much you're able to go into it, and do you have partners for it? You see, there's a lot of questions we need to ask about that. So it's not just as simple as, well, what would I do with it? Because now we're getting into a creative process. It's not what can I do? It's what do you want to do? Now, that's a key component. And it seems like I'm being evasive, but I'm really not. Well, why am I saying that? Because whatever answer you settle on, it needs to be something that I know you can stick with and you're going to work at day and night and day for the next 2, 3, 5, 7 years. If it's not something that drives you, you will not keep at it. So I could go drop you off in the McDonald's franchise, and if you become disenchanted, this isn't going to end well within the first 6 months because you don't have a passion for it.
Right.
And you don't get up in the morning wanting to be the best McGriddle maker in Detroit. It's going to be hard for me to get you over that hurdle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll be hard. And even the software programming, that might be what you do, but if you don't really have a passion for it, I recommend, clearly you're making enough money at it. You must be good. Clearly. So, like I say, from there, I think usually when I run into programmers, it's usually a networking issue because let's just be very, very clear. Most guys who are computer programmers are nerds. They're reclusive. They're introverts, which is why they're so good at what they do. They're so good at it because you can park them in front of a computer screen for 18 hours and he's a machine. He's going to stay at this for 18 damn hours. So that's what makes them so good is they're very good with machines. Problem, they're not very good with people. And the machines will not be venture capitalists nor investors, nor will they be partners. They're hardware. You're going to have to work with other people. So really, in your regard, you obviously are a highly skilled individual. I would have to have a talk with you about networking. That would be the next step for you is, okay, what are we going to network about? What are you going to do networking wise? What are your networking skills to work with other people? What kind of debts are you carrying? So like I say, just without me going too long into it, it would be a much longer conversation to go into further than what we've been talking about here tonight because we're talking about why women hate average men. But if you want that, join my Patreon group and we can see about having a discussion about that, okay?
I'm already a patron.
Okay, well, send me a private message on
there.
All right,
I'll shoot you a message.
Yeah, send me a private message.
All right.
We'll talk about it. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 330. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my bad. I don't really have anything. I was just more listening, but I'm just listening to some of these men, though. Like, we can understand why women turn their nose at them. I'm like, listen, as a man, this is just what I teach my son. Handle your business, and shit, the women will come to you, shit.
Can't argue with that one. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. If you want to listen, you have YouTube. Let me get a call from area code 510. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller from 517 has been abducted. Caller from area code 240. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
DJ from Maryland.
DJ from Maryland. Where at in Maryland?
Waldorf, Maryland.
All right, DJ from Waldorf. What's on your mind?
That last caller you had, he kind of the same situation as me, but you gave me a lot of stuff to go on with that. I hope you do another program on like Patreon or something where you can get a little bit more specific. The problem I'm having is that I make I just cracked 100,000 a year.
Okay.
But I don't know how to double my income. And that's the hardest thing I'm having to do. I'm trying to find another job that's worthy of my time.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not. No, look. Once you get past six figures, the only way you're going to be able to get that number to double again is really a creative endeavor of your own. Jobs don't pay $200,000 and $300,000 a year unless at that point you're talking about a senior engineer or an executive, and that's just it. It's what they call max pay in the corporate world. That's what we call max pay. Whatever their six-figure position is, that's pretty much going to be it. So 150,000 maybe, but anything above that, and now you're really talking, senior management, executives. There's going to be very few positions that do that. So you can be an engineer making $150,000 a year, but you can't just be one of their engineers making $250,000, $300,000 a year. Though that salary is going to be reserved for essential personnel. Somebody who would be just a step below the executives, to be totally honest. There's not going to be a lot of chairs for that. Either that, you're going to pull off a lot of you're going to have some type of profit, have a company that has profit sharing or hellified overtime or, something like that. Now, if you can find a gig with one of those companies and whatnot, that'd be cool. In San Francisco, they actually do have that kind of thing. If you have stock options or equity in a company or things like that, if you can get something like that, that would be okay. But once again, that's not the average. That's not typical or routine of these companies. So if you're trying to get from 120 to double it, which is around 250, the next question then is like, okay, how much money you got in the bank? What do we have to invest? You're going to have to flip this next. You're most likely going to flip this next part on your own. Or, you could find a second job, but just understand the second job is really only going to, at most, is going to pay as much as your first one. It's unlikely you're going to get a second job that pays $200,000. Very unlikely, unless you're just a hellified, talented individual.
I just need to stack my cash in the bank and get to 100,000 in the bank so I can do something. I can do that in probably like 3 years, 36 months, 24 months. I could probably do that.
Yeah, because that's the thing right there. I get that question a lot and whatnot. And you all know I have my rule about you need to double your income once every 24 to 36 months. And if you do that, then over the course of 6 years, you can get over $100,000 a year. You can get in that $100,000 a year mark at the end of 6 years. And you've probably lived that too. If you take a look at when you started your rise, you probably can count. It was basically probably about 5 to 6 years of diligence, when you started rising on it. And that's usually the way that's going to work. So, but the next step becomes, okay, well, how do we get our money over that part for that next doubling of it? And really, now is like also over the course of that 5, 6, 7 years, what's your credit score like? What's your savings like? Do you have any assets? What has your networking been like? Have you continued to increase the value of your skill set? Or have you kind of just sat back and said, hey, life is lovely. Let me just coast for a minute because I've been working all this time, which I understand. But, dude, we can't sleep. We got to keep grinding at it. So we have to keep making ourselves more valuable. Becoming valuable is not a one-stop thing. You get to the finish line and you rest. Becoming valuable is just a constant state of being. There is no end date. There is no finish line. It is who and what you are. So the other thing is what I'm saying, how old are you?
I'm 47.
Okay. You're 47 years old. Like I say, the next thing here, 47 years old, I'm just going to be honest with you here. You should already have $100,000 in the bank, but you already know this. What's your 401k look like?
I got like $130,000 in there.
Not bad. Not great. Not bad compared to a lot of other folk out there, but then a lot of other folk out there are just really sucking wind. But I'm just saying, really to get your numbers for your 401k where they need to be, you're really going to have to work another 20 years.
Yes, I understand that too.
Which means we kind of started late, which is not uncommon. The 401k was never actually intended to be a retirement vehicle. It was a Xerox executive scam that was written into the tax code, and corporations took advantage of it, so they didn't have to pay out pensions anymore. So, but that thing was never intended to be a retirement vehicle. But for it to have any viability, it's going to need a lot more than it has. So, but yeah, if you really want to double your income as opposed to just have something to cushion your retirement, then yeah, you're gonna have to have some savings in the bank. You're gonna have to have something serious, and you're gonna need at least $100,000 before you can make something really start moving. At that point, bankers, financial planners, other investors or whatever, now they're gonna listen to you because they're like, okay, he's got his ducks in a row. His credit is good. He's got 6 figures to invest. This guy's a contender. This guy's a contender. He's serious.
Please don't stop doing these shows, Jason. They're so informative and so great. I really appreciate what you do. And be one. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Black First, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, I try to talk to when people ask me those questions there because I give you the general framework of what the benchmarks are for doubling your income, but to get into specifics, I'm like, that'll take a while because I've done enough one-on-one consultations where I realize it's going to be a lot of questions I have to ask specific for that person because what works for one person is simply not going to work for everybody. I can cookie cutter tell you the time frame as far as doubling it. Once you get past 100,000, now I got to get off into your business and I got to get a lot more details before I can even begin to craft something of a viable answer. Caller from area code 602, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Andrew.
Okay, Andrew, take your phone off of speaker, sir.
Give me a second. All right, can you hear me?
All right, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I'm 28 years old. I've been making over 6 figures for the past 2 years, and my dad's telling me that, oh, you're just lucky, but I don't believe that. You know, I just don't believe it. I'm trying to double my income. I have a friend of mine that got me in contact with your show, and he's actually been a great help. He's like, I think in his 50s, and he keeps telling me, he's like, no, you're doing the right thing. Just keep striving. But I just don't want to be complacent, you know?
All right. How old are you again?
28.
You know, you got to watch out for these old niggas. You really do. What does your dad do for a living?
He's a carpenter.
Who makes more money, you or him?
I do.
Need I say more? So, like I say, the real issue is he couldn't crack the code. He couldn't crack the code. He couldn't figure it out. So it scares him. Because he's trying to, I mean, I hate that you got a hater in the family like that, but it scares him because he's looking at you like, damn, Hammer, how you do it? He doesn't know how you did this. It's like alchemy to him. He doesn't get it. So rather than him sitting down and understanding it, he doesn't want to do that because he feels like that would be emasculating to him because now he's like, I'll be damned. I'm having to get gamed up by my son. Now, second of all, you say he's a carpenter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is he a contractor or does he work for somebody else?
He works for somebody else.
How long has he been working for someone else?
Oh, since he was like 15, 14 years old.
Okay, so in other words, would you say he's in his 50s now?
My dad, yeah.
Okay.
He's 55, I believe.
40 years later. 40 years later. Carpentry does not take 20 years to learn. You pretty much got the hang of it trade school is pretty much going to be done with you in a year. So, in other words, he has spent 38 years stagnating.
Yeah.
He could never crack the code and could never multiply it and could never make it pop off. He never moved up to being a contractor. He's the average guy, is what I'm telling you. He's the average guy. And his son has done what sons are supposed to do. You've done better than the father has. And instead of him saying to himself, job well done, the problem is he didn't really teach you how to do it, so he can't really figure out how you did it. So he's resorting to do what average guys do. Average guys hate.
And another thing, too, is he tries to give me women advice, but he's a simp.
Okay. I don't think there's I don't think there's a whole lot you can learn from your dad right now. My issue is you need to move out of his house.
Well, he lives with me.
He lives with you.
I have my own house.
Okay, put that nigga in the basement.
Because I'm a single dad. I have 2 kids. I got divorced like 4 years ago.
He's messing up already. Messing up already. I'm pretty sure he helped you into that too.
He helps me with my kids. He's the one that helps me with my kids, so I'm able to work and I'm able to strive for what I want.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though. But he's really got this corrosive, this really corrupted way of doing things though. His job. Look here. Tell him he needs to do his best Bob the Builder interpretation, build an add-on to the house, and he can move up in there and shut the hell up. Just really, he doesn't really have anything to offer there at that point. Now, I don't want you getting no more chicks pregnant and no more nonsense like that. But really, if he's not going to be helpful, he really just needs to be quiet. And I heard you talk about your dad. I ain't heard nothing about your mom.
Well, my mom, she lives in Chicago. She's not.
Okay, dude, I don't know what you did there, but your audio is shifted.
But I keep it there.
You're not on your phone anymore.
There's any phone, I don't
Okay. Not sure what happened to him there, but I don't know if his phone got pulled over the Bluetooth or something. But yeah, tell Dad here, build an add-on to the house. Tell him you went to Home Depot. You got some lumber and some jack studs and some braces and some 8-foot drywall, and he needs to build an addition on the house so he can sit his ass down, or build a basement so he can shut the hell up. Caller from area code 413. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller from 413 has been abducted. Folks, make sure you're paying attention. We will not be giving you 15 chances. Caller from area code 404. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, what's going on? This is the Corrupt Author Cedric, man. You've been spitting game. Y'all need to listen to it and apply. You know, the key to life is observing your environment, man. And that's the same with women and business. He giving so much game on, you know what's coming. I originally called in to tell y'all about my dating experience outside the U.S. I dated African chicks, and my homeboy, he dated in the D.R. And we had to come to the conclusion, them women are selling out every man in their country, trying to get with you to get a meal ticket. And you can't fall for that. It wasn't because they're more marriage-minded or anything about that. It was all about the same thing. They were looking for high value and resources. And on the business tip, man, I had to separate from Amazon. I'm an author. And they were trying to use me. I thought I was a business owner, and connecting with Amazon's KDP.
Well, a lot of folks think they are, but those are things they need to learn, because being a business owner really starts small. There's no shortcuts to it, and that's the biggest piece of advice you can keep from it. There's no shortcuts to it, and you're really going to find out the first leg of whatever you do. I've never met anything that was really successful that we didn't do by ourselves. So once you get it primed on your own, you find that you won't get taken advantage of by people, especially in partnerships like that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James, Atlanta.
James from Atlanta, what's on your mind?
I just really got a question about the psychology of black people, of us. So I want to ask, who creates the culture for us, and who deemed it necessary for an average black man to be less valuable than having a man at all?
Okay. Apparently you were not listening to the program. Biology is what dictates that average is not desired. Because the average male is struggling. And he tells himself in his head that he understands why he is struggling, why he is not performing, and why he is not excelling. And in his head, all of his reasons are justifiable and make perfect sense. And that's the problem. A female cannot live under your excuses for yourself. Okay, brother, it sounds like you calling me from Silent Hill, but thank you very much for giving us a call. I don't know what Amityville Horror going on behind him, but this is not people. This is biology that does that. It's biology that does that. Period. Caller from area code 347. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? This is CJ calling out of New York.
CJ out of New York, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, to get to what you were saying earlier, I'll just make it real short and simple. I want to be great and get my weight up, and I want to know how to double my income, so this way I can start gaining more power.
Okay. Are you a member of my patrons, sir?
Yes.
Okay, I've done several programs now. Get Your Weight Up Wednesday. Have you listened to any of those?
Okay. Yes, I've listened to the ones you have on your Patreon, and I've applied a lot of things you said, a lot of things you had said to doing it. One of them being just simply getting $5K in the bank, and I've been able to double that up. But my thing is, I want to be able to get it to. If you could help me with what I'm specifically trying to do. I had called a while back, like a long while back.
All right, we don't need a life story here, folks. We don't need folks launching into their biography. How old are you?
26.
What is your skill?
Right now, I work as a personal trainer, so fitness and sales.
So right now, you don't have a skill.
Okay.
I said, so what you meant to tell me was, right now, I don't have a skill.
Yes, you could say that,
so
yes.
Right now, you don't have a skill. You have a job. You have a nice little side hustle. You don't actually have a skill. And that's the reason why doubling your income is going to be extremely challenging. Now, I do talk to people who are personal trainers and whatnot, and I do advise them because personal trainers actually could make a lot more money than they do. Most of them make a bunch of mistakes that don't allow them to elevate beyond what they are because they don't actually understand what business they're actually in. And that's the reason why most personal trainers will never be able to do anything, because they don't understand their clients and they don't understand what business they are actually in. If you ever saw the movie The Founder, the guy told Ray Kroc, you don't understand what business you're actually in. You think you're in the restaurant business. You're really in the real estate business. You think you're in the personal training business, but that's not really the business you're in. If you're not a member of my Patreon, you need to be here. Look, we can go into that and whatnot, but once again, it's going to be a situation where I will need to break that down in depth. But what I will tell you here is, first of all, you don't have a skill. If you're going to get a skill set, that's going to be able to change that. If you wish to pursue personal training, you can do that. But that is going to become a creative endeavor. It's not a technical one. You're trying to create. They've told you that what you have is a technical skill, similar to carpentry or computer programming, and it isn't. What you have is a creative endeavor. And the only way that you're going to be able to make that multiply is creatively. The rules for this will be different than the rules for truck driving, IT, so on and so forth. You cannot treat it the same way. If you attempt to do so, it will end in predictable failure.
Understood. Now, I did take your advice and put in for my semester. My semester won't start until the fall, until the upcoming fall for nursing.
Okay, well, I mean, that could work for you there, but if you're going to start nursing, you need to pick a direction. You need to stay there. So you say you started for nursing.
Yeah.
If you're going to start it, especially at your age, you should really just go straight for your BSN if that's what you're going to do. But you need to make sure that that's exactly what you want to do. One of the worst things you can do is be doing a bunch of hopping around.
Yes, because I was thinking of going into my LPN, and then from that just go right into my BSN to at least get some experience under my belt for at least a couple months to
definitely like I say, if you wanted to discuss that further, you can contact me on Patreon and we can see about discussing that further here, because tonight, I mean, we're really talking about why women hate average men. So for the fellas here who want extra assistance, I don't have a problem with that. You all just hit me up on Patreon and we'll see about scheduling to be able to discuss it with you. Okay.
Okay, I'll get right on that.
Call tonight. Everybody who's on the line right now, like I said, we're really discussing why women hate average men. I always get inundated with people who want to talk to me all the time. That's great. That's wonderful. Unlike your posers and everybody else, I actually talk to people. That's great. That's wonderful. But in the interest of staying on the subject we're talking about here tonight, if you need some type of personal assistance or whatever, that's cool. Hit me up on Patreon. If you're not a member of my Patreon, you need to go ahead and sign up for that. Go ahead and send me a message, and we'll see about getting you some extra assistance, okay? Let me get a caller from area code 770. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Jude from Atlanta.
Okay, what's your name again?
Jude.
Okay, Jude from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
No, I'm calling in to agree with pretty much everything you've been saying in each one of your broadcasts. I had to go through several years of honestly just failures and inadequacies on my end to kind of learn the truth of what you've been saying.
Well, don't blame me for that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call of Mary Code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Mr. Black. This is Bobby Ray calling from the United Kingdom.
Bobby Ray from the UK. What's on your mind?
Sir and stuff, well, I mean, granted, I was definitely going to come out to you and stuff like that with personal seek out and advice because I'm not a member of your Patreon. But to stay on topic with why women hate average guys, sir, looking at my life, I am an average guy. I make very low income. I'm a prison officer. I'm potentially getting ready to be a deportee, getting a one-way ticket back to the U.S. I have just found out and stuff that I'm getting ready to be a father. And when I look at my life, I feel that I am actually repeating the cycle of the failed fatherhood of what I experienced because I grew up in a single parent household. I was raised by a single mother. And when I look at my life, I pretty much and stuff like that, when I see myself and stuff, I'm a broken man. I'm a yes man. I've spent so much of my life trying to be liked instead of respected. I have my insecurities. I'm 29 years old. And yeah, that's pretty much the story of my life, sir. And I know when I spoke to you, you gave me the whole rundown of everything and whatnot. And I needed to tell you that because I didn't have a true chance to actually share that entirely with you.
Okay, well, it certainly sounds like a very lackluster story there. I suppose my first question would be, what do you plan on doing about this mess you're in?
The only thing that I got going on right now at this moment in time, Mr. Black, is I have set up a meeting with an immigration solicitor. I have the funds, thankfully enough that I do, to cover that aspect. But I know relating to my actual current occupation and stuff of being a prison officer, they don't class that as skilled work out here compared to all the other civil servants jobs. So potentially and stuff, I mean, this actually could fall all the way through. But for me, sir, I'm willing to exhaust all of my financial resources and say that I tried instead of hoard my resources and stuff and go back, especially now that I found out that I'm getting ready to be a father. Because as I said, I don't want to repeat the same circle of failure of what I experienced growing up without a father.
Okay. I can understand some things that you're saying there. I'm not really sure how in the world did you end up in the UK? You're obviously an American.
Oh, well, as far as in the UK, sir, and stuff with relating to, I was active duty United States Air Force. I was married and stuff like that to an English white woman at the time.
Sir, all right, stop. Pump your brakes. Ease. Slow down. Take a breath.
Sorry, sir.
Take a breath.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure I've talked to you before. This story sounds frighteningly weird. Story sounds frighteningly weird, odd, and familiar all at the same time. So obviously that situation has not resolved itself just yet. And it's been a while since you spoke to me, but that situation has not resolved itself just yet. That is a hell of a bind for you to be in there because, like I say, you're without having citizenship rights in the UK. That's going to make it very, very challenging. You know, the only thing you could do is apply for citizenship, which I'm assuming you've already done.
Unfortunately, sir, no, I have not, because of the simple fact and stuff, waiting to speak to my solicitor to see what routes and stuff that I could actually go through.
Right, because I can see what your concern is.
Applying for.
I see what your concern is. You certainly don't want to be giving birth to kids and whatnot and then disappearing and things. So that's very, very... That's very responsible of you, which of course is a basic thing. That's not something I'm going to pat you on the back for. However, these will be challenging circumstances for that. Now you're in the middle of a legal thing. Now you are gainfully employed, yes?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
I work for Her Majesty's Prison and Probationary Services as a prison officer.
Well, certainly, like I say, I mean, at this point right now, you're going to need more information before you can do anything. Because now, if we're talking about a situation where you could possibly be deported, now we're dealing with a legal issue. So I can't I can understand what you're dealing with here right now. I can't really give a lot of advice on it because we need more information. Because if they're going to deport you, that's going to be difficult to deal with, especially trying to fight that kind of thing from the States. I can't imagine that they would want you making kids and then send you out of the country, because then it's going to be on them to pay for it. But then again, weirder, sillier things have happened than that. But definitely see what they check back with me once you have a definitive answer on that, because I don't want to communicate. I don't want to elaborate on things I'm not certain about. And it certainly does not sound very well in that regard. I'm hoping you've learned your lesson from it. But this isn't the time to be flogging you right now, because there's a bigger issue to be concerned about here. We got kids showing up in things. And, if you're not going to be with her, you certainly don't want to be getting shipped back to the States and whatnot when you got things going on over there.
Yes, sir. Well, like I say, I'm not sure if I entirely clarified, is as far as with my ex-wife and stuff, the woman that I dealt with and stuff that I called a suspected white supremacist, she's not the one that's pregnant. The woman that I had the affair with and stuff, she's the one that's pregnant and stuff. So as far as my ex-wife, Kelly, I have split from her and stuff. That's legal. Like, literally, I have legal paperwork to show that we're separated and all those other things.
Right, but there's another issue that's going on there. So now you have a paternity issue that's going on. So you have somebody who is pregnant but has not given birth yet.
Correct, sir.
And like I say, you need to discuss if she's unwilling to budge on custody. Like I say, we're dealing with a legal issue in that regard. So hopefully you are not removed from the country from that. That would be a hellified circumstances to be in. But like I say, right now, what you said is correct. You're going to need more answers before I could comment on it further. It's certainly a right fine mess you've gotten yourself into, but don't know what to do at this point until we have a definitive answer about whether they are more determined to remove you, or whether because of your circumstances they think it would be better for you to stay instead. Because in the United States, that would be a different matter. That they would actually be more inclined to keep you here because you have a child. But over there, I'm not certain how that would work, because they've got a lot of pushback on immigrants there to begin with over there right now. Only the black ones, of course, only the black ones. So you would need more information. You need more information first. But when you have a definitive answer on that, shoot me an email, okay?
Okay, roger that. And that's at handlethebusiness@yahoo.com, correct, sir?
Yes, it is.
Okay, roger that. Well, thank you so much and stuff for taking my call, Mr. Black. And once I get a definitive answer, sir, I will email you and stuff to keep you fully updated, sir, because I genuinely want to be a better man.
Well, first things first. Let's deal with this first. When we deal with this, then we'll deal with the next thing. But first things first is to find out exactly where you stand on it, okay? Send me an email when you have an answer on that, because then you can actually do something. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 571. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 571 has been abducted. Caller from area code 859. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Jerome from Louisville.
Jerome from Louisville. What's on your mind?
Couple things. So I am... as we've talked before, I'm a software engineer, and I own a software company. I do have employees, and I also have a couple startups. So I'm divorced with 2 children, and I'm currently in a relationship with the woman who I'm thinking about proposing to. Now, my hesitancy is based on the fact that I don't want to be divorced again, and I have a lot more resources now than I did when I was divorced. So, and I have noticed since my business has grown in the last 5 years, I've been treated different because I'm no longer what would be, I guess, considered an average man. So my concern, and my question is, while I'm trying to make this decision, I don't want to make it fear-based, like, oh, I just don't want to get divorced. I want to get divorced. But, what are the parameters and qualifications that I need to take into account this time around, given I do have more resources if I go into another marriage.
Okay, first of all, as men, we need to be cognizant of the females we're getting with, and we need to be honest with ourselves about what exactly we got, not some fantasy of what we wish it is or focusing on their positives and ignoring the negatives. We just need to have a gut check and be honest with ourselves about what it is we got. Has this woman met your parents?
Yes, father and mother.
Okay, and what do they think of her?
They love her.
Okay.
They ask me all the time if I'm going to.
That's cool,
marry.
but there you got dudes who run game on fathers and chicks who run game on mothers too. So that's helpful, but it's not the end all be all. Does she have any children?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I'm also a firm believer in measuring folks' cervixes, just to make certain, but we'll come back to that some other time. Assuming there's nothing of a nefarious nature going on, what does she do for a living?
She is a server at Doc Crow's, and she also works at the Omni Hotel.
Oh, okay. Does she have a degree?
Sociology.
Oh, Lord. This could go bad. Sociology, psychology, liberal arts. That means this is a person who at one point told herself that she was qualified to deal with other people's mental issues and be an authority on it. So that right there is a huge red flag for me. And obviously it is for you too. Otherwise you wouldn't have called me. So just going to be totally honest with you there. Yeah, that's a big red flag. One of those sociology, psychology, law, internship, whatever you want to call them. Anytime I start hearing those things, especially if they're not, and she's not even working in her industry. So that might be a good thing. She may have given it up. How old is she?
She just turned 27.
Borderline, real iffy. Her last two boyfriends, were they her age or older?
Her last relationship she had since high school, and they were the same age. So it was a 10-year relationship.
She's 27 now.
Yeah.
How long
they broke up last
okay.
year, from 16 to 26.
Dude, so... All right, once again here, Kitten Heels and some other folks have really gone out here and distorted what I gave people. I said that a man knows if you are wife material. He knows if you are, whether or not he should consider you seriously within the first couple of minutes we talk to you. Within the first 30 days, we know if you're girlfriend material. Within the first 6 months, we know if you're wife material. My issue is she just left a relationship and then she immediately transitions into one with you. There wasn't a downtime period or anything. Certainly not a significant enough one. So she's hopped from one relationship into one with you. That's another huge red flag for me. She ain't even transitioned. Another thing, she was with that guy for a decade. That means that he has been the primary masculine influence in her life from the end of her most formative years into the beginning of her womanhood years. So she went into womanhood with
when
this
he graduated
guy. Okay,
high school, he went into the military.
Let me make this very, very clear. I don't like callers who interrupt me while I'm talking because if you want to host the program, I need to call you up.
I'm sorry.
And people cannot hear the both of us talk. So,
you're right.
Would you like me to give you a few moments to finish your thoughts since we are now interrupting the business to bring us the Confused Young Gentleman program?
I'm sorry, sir. What I was saying was when they graduated, he went to the Navy. And he never came back to Louisville.
Here's what you need to understand. I don't need to know if I didn't ask. If I need that detail, I assure you, I will ask. If I didn't ask, I don't need to know yet. This isn't for you to volunteer. Yes or no is all I really need. Seriously. Your situation is not new, unique, novel under the sun. You are just the latest person going through it. That's all. I already don't like what I'm hearing as far as she's concerned. Your judgment is obviously very specious, quite frankly. And you called me because you have specious judgment, and you're filling in the blanks of why it's specious. She has spent a 10-year relationship with that guy. Distance between them doesn't really matter. Women actually find distance to be romantic. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. She grew into adulthood connected to this man romantically. He has been making his impression on her and molding her into the woman he wants for the last decade, by your admission. She has spent a decade being molded into the woman he wants. You immediately picked her up so she can be the woman that you want, and you think that you are going to be able to undo the 10 years of molding that he did. You're going to undo that in 6 months. Not possible. Not possible. So even if I gave her every benefit of every doubt, there has not been enough time for her to decompress and deprogram for the decade that she spent from her school years to the peak of her sexual desirability. She spent those with him. And obviously she was pretty damn swanky to be there. She was there for a decade. And here you parachute in from Mars, and you're going to undo that in 6 months? I find that very skeptical. I find it very skeptical. I'm sure she's a very nice individual and whatnot. I'm sure she's a very charming young lady. I'm also very sure that she's been laying up under another dude for the better part of a decade. And there's no way in the world that you are going to become the primary influence over her in a few months. That's going to be at least a couple of years at best before you even figure out how much debris has been left from him. Because now you want her to be your woman, which means now you must start the molding process of turning her into your woman. Either that, or you're saying that you and that guy are kindred souls. You are similar personalities, and that the woman he made her into is exactly the woman that you want for the rest of your life. Now, is that the case?
No, sir.
Okay, then if that's not the case, then you think, does she emulate being your woman at this point? I don't think so. I don't think you can do that in 6 months. So that's going to take time. At best.
Okay.
Now, how old are you again?
29.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a recommendation to you that you give her a couple of years. It is too soon for you to be making a decision like that. If she does make the cut over the course of the next couple of years, and by the way, you need to run her ass through the ringer also, because you have not known her long enough to know how devious she is. She went to school for sociology. We all know full well when black women go to school for sociology and psychology, it's because they're disciplinary problems and they think they're smarter than everybody else. So you need to level with yourself with that reality. That you might not have met her, you may have met her representative. And that she is playing the role to get you to drop your defenses. How much did you make a year?
Close to 200,000.
Okay. Why would she not want to bamboozle your naive ass? You think she can't see you coming? She works at the Omni. So she works at a reasonably upscale hotel. She meets millionaires every day. But she don't really
she does.
But she doesn't really qualify for one. However, she does know how to operate and talk and move among them. Have you taken a look through her cell phone?
Yes, I have.
What did you find?
Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of, she's like, she's in a bunch of book clubs and she does like acting and stuff like that.
Okay.
Group chats with the girls.
How much does she weigh?
About 140, 145.
Okay. And is this a black female?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
What is her religion?
Not religious.
Okay, so she
grew up in the church, but she left the church.
Right. She's not. Where is she from originally?
Louisville.
Okay, she's from Louisville, Kentucky also. So she's a black female from Louisville, Kentucky. She is not particularly religious. She got a degree in sociology. She works at the Omni, and her cell phone doesn't tell you that she is a woman of her time. So what you're really telling me is you found a unicorn. And you already know how I'm going to respond to somebody telling me that they have Jason, them other folks who found the unicorns, now they were all wrong, but I found the real one. And it's possible. Sure it is. But my real question is, I find this all to be incredibly difficult to believe, primarily because she was attached to a guy in the military for a decade. Why did she break up with him?
He broke up with her because basically he was already seeing other people.
Oh.
In Hawaii.
Oh, so she was alpha widowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a black female with a sociology degree, a man that she gave a decade of her life to, her most formative, sensitive, impressionable years, and at the end of 10 years of laying on top of her, he dumped her, which is usually what doesn't happen to females, and we all know how females handle rejection, never well. He dumps her so he can go lay up with some other chicks. So not only does she know she got dumped, she knows that he's laying up with, that it's not going to affect him because he's like, I'm just clearing the deck so I can do what I do. And now she's met you, and you don't think that she's going to pick up where she left off at and make sure that this time she's the one in the driver's seat and she's going to get over. But how could she ever do that if she lets on from the beginning that she's got a shrewd personality? So, no, sir, she does customer service. You have met a customer service representative. And you have not dug deep enough. Well, I looked through her phone. Well, you can say that, but I'd be interested to see what her phone, her social media, photographs, videos. You should do a little bit more digging. I am certain beyond certain that it's sitting right below the surface. You just haven't looked enough. I'm certain beyond certain. Even if that were not the case, there are too many warning signs and red flags here to be ignored. She got dumped by a guy in the military that she gave a decade to. She has a sociology degree, which means she already thinks that she's too smart. Now she's found a guy who makes $200,000 a year. Why would she not want to land this guy? And if you do want to marry her, first order of business is a prenuptial agreement. That's the first order of business. An ironclad prenuptial agreement. Don't listen to any dumbass attorney on the internet tell you that prenups don't work. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You write up a prenuptial agreement. You don't do it. You don't even talk about proposing to her until after she has agreed to it. Because prenuptial means pre-asking. And tell her, here you go. You go take this to your attorney. Oh, you don't have one? I can recommend one to you. You go take this to your attorney. You two go talk this over. And then you come back to me in writing that you two have talked this over. Because what's messed guys up is in some cases the women have been able to argue duress. Like he wants to hand her a prenuptial agreement after they have started the wedding proceedings and made the date and everything else. So now she's like, well, hell, I can't. She goes and argues to the judge. Well, I couldn't back out because I'd already told everybody we were going to be there. I was under emotional duress. Well, that's an argument they can make. Your job is to make sure that you do not sit up here and be squeamish about it. You be bold about it. Donald Trump's prenups held. You know why? Because after he got run through the ringer the first time, he was not shy the second time. With Marla Maples, he made sure she understood this gonna be what it's gonna be. Before we discuss anything, this is what you're gonna agree to. And guess what? It held. Which is what they will do if you're gonna hold on to it. But you gotta be that person. That's what it's gotta be. Period. So I'm going to recommend that you make sure that you have a prenuptial agreement. You make sure you get all that taken care of. But more than anything else, first, you need to give us a couple of years so you can feel this woman out and see exactly who she is. If you make it $200,000 a year, you need to let her know that you run the show. You need to test and see how bitter she is about her last experience. There definitely needs to be some counseling. Absolutely needs to be some counseling beyond the shadow of all doubt. There's no way she went through that experience and she's not screwed up in the head over it. At least emotionally vindictive. There's no chance she isn't. None. And she will be looking to make sure that if somebody's going to get got over on, it's not going to be her the second time around. So just like you are defensive, guess what? You've met a female now who is equally defensive. She's just not going to say it to you the way I'm saying it. But she's not going to want to give up another decade to a man and not feel like she got gotten over on. From here on in, she's going to be the one wanting to get over on folk. Your job is to find out how deep that goes, how bad that is. Probably not even something you really want to deal with, but you really just want to find out how bad that is. But my first answer to you is no. But if you insist on proceeding, which I do not recommend, but if you want to proceed, you have not known her long enough to even be able to discuss something as unbelievable as marriage, because that's giving me warning signs about you. That after just a few months, knowing she's fresh out of a relationship, you're eager to go back down the aisle again. And if you're talking this way, you've already let her know that you're vulnerable and that you want her more than she wants you. And now you're at a disadvantage. Now that you've let on that you see her as more valuable than you are, she's going to flex that. So you need to give this some time. You need to put her through her paces, and you need to make it clear to her who's running the show, and backtalk difficulties or anything are not welcome or allowed. That was your last relationship. I run the thing over here, and we need time to make you into my woman. Because right now you're his woman, and whatever your father did, it's going to take some time for you to learn how to be my woman. But by the way, that's not going to work if you don't have an agenda. So if you're just a guy who's out here just floating around and my paper is straight, but you don't have an agenda, that's not going to work either. Because a woman cannot conform to an agenda that's not there. And when I say agenda, I mean agenda for what are the qualities that she needs to have specifically. And you're the one who defines what those are. And she's got to fall in line with that program and then see how she takes to it. But that's going to be a process that's going to take years. It's not going to take months.
Understood.
I suggest you get to, and by the way, in your case here also, you are, both of you definitely want to get some counseling. Some couples counseling, but don't even consider doing this because you are dealing with a lot of issues from your last marriage. And have you gotten counseling already?
I've started it.
Okay.
I'm in the process.
Okay, so you can see
I've done it.
I didn't guess my way through that. We were dealing with some issues here. You've got some abandonment issues or some loneliness issues. You ran at this too damn fast. A guy making the kind of paper you making, you should have 3 or 4 females you're talking to. This chick here, you probably just ran straight up to her and she could see it in your eyes. This guy would get down on one knee and marry me right now if he could. At that point right there, bro, you're at a disadvantage. The woman should always see you as more valuable than she sees herself. You're supposed to be someone that she can look up to. You do not want to make yourself her emotional or psychological subordinate. And she has a degree in sociology. She will see what I've already seen. You are her psychological subordinate. You are an alpha at the job. You're an alpha at making money. Emotionally, you're a beta. And that needs to be resolved. Otherwise, I'm telling you right now, she will, not she might, she will take advantage. Well, Jason, so far I haven't seen that. The first time she says I'm pregnant, watch it be a 180-degree turn from literally everything you have seen since you met her. I'll put that on my everything. As soon as she says she's pregnant, she's going to be like, if she's pregnant and married without a prenup, I've been biding my time. Because I learned that with my ex in the military. I learned to wait you niggas out. But I had nothing but time on my hands. I was willing to put in a year or two to get you to drop your defenses. But now I'm never going to get gotten over on again. So if we do break up, I'll be the one breaking up. And I'm going to make you pay for everything that he did. Now, you're old enough to have seen that already in other women.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fix their issues with their ex. They get with somebody else, and now you're supposed to pay for everything their exes did. Because he ain't there no more. So now she's going to pay you back. She's going to pay him back by making you suffer. Halle Berry, anybody? Every man who's gotten with Halle Berry has been going through hell. Why? Because she's constantly trying to make everybody suffer for what the ex did. Or what she claims they did, at the very least. What she claims happened. So your job is to avoid that. But it's going to take time. I suggest you get to it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Y'all got to watch out here. Just because they're childless, we can't water down our standards, fellas. We can't do that. That's average man thought. You can't water down the standard. You can't sit up here and just say, well, she's not a size 16. She's not, quote, the typical black female. This one looks all right. She's got the right age on her and whatnot. She's not a hood rat. Just because she's not a hood rat doesn't mean she's not a problem. Understand that. Just because she's not a hood rat doesn't mean that she's not a problem. Caller from area code 216. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, caller from 216 is in the bathtub. I think we got an overseas caller here. I'm not sure what this is. This is country code 528. You're on live. Okay, they were calling me from the Sudan. They're calling me from the Sudan or Algeria or something, but they're not paying attention. Too bad for them. They're racking up overseas rates. I've got a couple of callers on the line. I'm not sure if you all are calling from Skype or whatever, but if you're not calling from a physical phone number, then I'm not going to let you on. So I need to see what your phone number is. So just in case you start trolling, I can get you some medical attention. So I'm about to drop your calls, not because I'm being mean, but because to let you know if your call drops right now, it is because you're calling me from a number or your voice over IP or whatever. And if you email me in advance, I'll know you're going to call and we can set something up. But other than that, I'm not going to let you on if I can't see a number that you're calling from. So if your call drops right now and you're calling from overseas, you're one of the numbers that is not showing up. Even if you think it should be showing up, I'm letting you know it's not. So you might want to email me and get that taken care of. So this line here and this line here, Gotta let you go. Let me get caller from area code 805. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from 805 has been abducted. Caller from area code 901. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Jonathan. I'm calling from New York City.
Jonathan, calling from where in New York City?
Oh, I'm in Manhattan.
What part of Manhattan, Jonathan? You sound unsure.
You say what? Hold on. Hello?
You sound unsure about what part of Manhattan you're from, Jonathan. You care to...
No. No, because I'm at work right now. That's all I'm just saying.
Okay.
Hello? Yeah, from Harlem.
Okay, what's on your mind?
I just want to say like this is my first time hearing you. I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw your thing. I've been listening for like an hour and a half, and you said women hate average men. And my question is, I know you said something about biology, which I agree with, but if women hate average men, why do they deal with average men so much?
Because males need to understand that women want to be emotionally catered to, and if she cannot get what she actually wants, she will settle. The big lie that women have sold men on in the modern era is that they're happy with the man they're with. Whole bunch of dope boys out there got their asses used. You know why? Because females know dope boys are easy to use. He ain't very bright. He is productive. I got something I can get. So we don't see the world the way that women do. We don't see it the way they do. So, and please understand, women feel the same way about us when it comes to hoes. To them, that's a highly offensive, contradictory thing. In their minds, well, men are always running down hoes, and yet most of these dudes got some hoes on their resume. Well, it's just what you just said. Well, the women say they don't like average guys, so why are so many of them with average guys? Well, there must be something there. Now, is there any man who wants to marry a hoe? Hell no. But she has a utility. Well, does she want to keep the average guy? Hell no. But she doesn't have another option. So if there's something else he offers, then she'll settle for that in the short term. Now, here's where men get it twisted. That just because a woman is with you, that she's made a lifelong commitment. Simply because she said, okay, I'll get in a relationship with you. You got it twisted. She's there until something better comes along. And if you're the average guy, she's a woman who needs some help. Most of the females out here today are struggling. The average guy is struggling, but most of these females out here are struggling. So after life finishes whooping their asses badly enough, they will leap for any shelter in a storm, any port in a storm they go for. But don't confuse the fact that she leapt for the first port in a storm that she could find to be, this is where she prefers to be. That was just the option that was available. That was just the one that was available. She has never let go of the idea that I deserve better. She's never let go of that. When she's with the average guy, she knows or she feels she deserves better, she's not going to let that go. Her job is to convince him that she's really bought in. Well, of course, because if she doesn't convince him of that, is he going to stay? Well, hell no. Women understand manipulation is the major. For men, intimidation or presence is the major way in which we get things done. I say intimidation by saying we project our presence into a room. And the stronger our presence is, everybody else is going to bow down. Just think, The Lion King, Mufasa. That presence, everybody bows to that presence. Even his hating ass brother got to bow down. So there's a level of intimidation there that makes other folk back off. Females don't have that type of power. So what do they have to do? Manipulation. So she can't force you to stay. See, as a man, you can compel people to stay. A female can't actually do that. So she's got to manipulate you to stay. Now, once you understand that, then you realize, being the average guy, dude, you were just here until she could get something better. And let's be very, very clear. The average guy out here will simp his ass off. He really will. He'll give up his paycheck. He'll give up all his sexual options, so on and so forth, because he doesn't have a choice. So she knows he can't do any better. But she believes she can, even if it's not accurate. So it doesn't really hurt a female to get into a relationship with an average guy if she doesn't have a better option. It only hurts her if she has a better option. And I got to just be clear about this. I think the genesis of the question that you asked was, well, why do so many of these females get with average guys? And the way in which you asked it implies that, well, there's a whole lot of better options out there. Actually, there are not. Actually, there aren't.
Yeah.
They're not. Most guys today, the overwhelming majority, over 80%, are just the average guy. I mean, average is a mathematical reality. It's not my opinion.
Yeah.
Extraordinary is a woeful minority. 1 out of every 10 at best. That makes the matter even worse when you realize that 1 out of every 10 is desired by 80% of the women. So the above average guys are spoiled for choice. The average guys are plentiful and readily available. And he will give you the pennies he got. He will give you his complete emotional loyalty and servitude. Problem: a female gets tired of your emotional loyalty and servitude. She brought plenty of emotional loyalty and servitude. She wants to see productivity. So she will settle for it is not okay. Let me clarify something, because you actually say a good point here.
Can I say one
Let
thing,
me clarify something. I don't want you all to be confused about what I mean. So let me take this a moment to clarify. When I say that the average guy is struggling, I don't mean that the average guy produces nothing. That's not what I mean. So if anybody was under any confusion about that, I'm not saying that the average guy produces zero. He does produce. He just produces at a very low level, at a level comparable to the female he's with. So in effect, he becomes a roommate in hierarchy. In hierarchy, he is like her roommate. So yes, he does produce. He just produces at a low level. In a woman's mind, an ideal is a man produces at a much higher level than she does, because we're much stronger than they are, much more logical. But then what? So that's the way that works.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think like my perspective is a little different, because you were saying like the average guy is a simp, and I get that and everything, but I'm just saying from my perspective, and like the men I know in my life and just my friends and stuff, the guys, they don't buy girls anything, and the girls, buy things for them and stuff like that. And some of the guys I know, they have no money, but they get all the women. I'm talking about women.
Understand something here. I would need, listen. Guys try to pull out anecdotal arguments like that, these personal arguments.
Well, I'm not trying to be anecdotal. I promise
slow down.
I'm not.
Okay,
I promise I'm not
slow down.
Anecdotal.
Pump your brakes, people. I'm hosting a program. There's nothing new under the sun. How old are you?
Me? 35.
Okay. You're 35, you live in Harlem, and what do you do for a living?
I'm a social worker.
Okay, you ain't a producer, and you don't know any producers. So what you know are a bunch of low-level dudes, and I'm not spitting on you here. I'm just saying let's illuminate the reality of the example you just gave. It's not like you're dealing with some highbrow dudes, which means the females that they are talking to are not highbrow females. Well, these females spend money on them. Did she buy him an Audi A7? No. She bought the nigga some Air Jordans. Get the hell out of here. It ain't like she even bought him a Movado watch or nothing. Let's not do that. She bought the nigga a pair of sneakers. She bought the dude a honey bun. She dropped by Wendy's on the way to his place on the subway. Let's not talk like they breaking bread, man. They ain't breaking no bread. Let's not do that. It's not like dude got a Rolex. It's not like he got a Rolex. It's not like she got him a Gucci belt. It ain't nothing like that. Let's be clear about that. She got him some little old knick-knack stuff, but that's all. So we need to make the distinction between a chick who threw a couple pennies and a chick who spent money. Because women make a very clear distinction there when they talk about spending money. Women make a very clear distinction. She doesn't care if it was $100 meal at Red Lobster. As far as she's concerned, you didn't spend no money because it was just a meal. So she discounts that from the beginning. So you're like, I'll be damned. I spent $100. And she talking about that wasn't no money. She didn't even count it. So as men, we need to understand that. As you met some guys who dealt with some low-level chicks, because let's just be very, very clear. I'm trying to be as diplomatic about this as I can, but let's be clear here. We need to raise the bar when we have discussions like that. Because I got to take a look at the quality of the female also. Is she a female that producers are trying to get at? Because if she were, she's not dealing with average guys to begin with. She's not. So we can't say that she has access to above average men, but yet she's out here spending money on average dudes, because every female knows if she's about something, she doesn't have to spend money to keep men's attention. Now, unless she's in a serious relationship with these guys. Now, is that what you're saying?
It depends. Yeah, well, having kids and all that type of thing.
Okay, now it sounds like some hood rat stuff.
Not like that. Like being in a relationship, like for years and stuff, and then
right. Okay,
like you said,
are they married to?
Like
okay, but now you said, well, having kids and stuff. Okay, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there. Are you saying these chicks had kids with these guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
all right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Now, so they can be professional hood rats, dude. Most of your social workers are. Well, she's a professional woman too. She's also a hood rat. So that's very, very common, especially in New York. New York is the epicenter for hood rats with a vocation, because you got to. Because New York is too damn expensive. Y'all have a damn city income tax. So those females up there in New York, and don't get me wrong, I do have a bit of because I'm from the South, I do have a bit of a affinity for chicks from New York because they do tend to be quick, but I just got a level with chicks from New York. All of y'all are grimy. Females from New York are grimy. They are scheming. They are calculating, and they are cutthroat. So, as much as I do like some things about chicks from New York, I just got to be honest. Only chicks worse than chicks from New York is Chicago. And that's the only place with females worse than the ones from New York. But New York has a particular breed of scheming female, and that's just part of the culture, unfortunately. It really, really is. But yeah, I mean, that's the standard now. They're taught from an early age, as females, they're taught from an early age that they need to get a skill. So you have a bunch of nurses, you have a bunch of nurse practitioners, you have a bunch of paralegals, you've got lawyers, you've got social workers. So you have a bunch of women who have pursued, can't really say careers, but certainly will say have pursued progressively gainful employment. But that has nothing to do with their personalities. I mean, remember with the NYPD, didn't you have a bunch of the female police recruits were sleeping with a bunch of damn sergeants? You know, it wasn't just one or two of them now. It was a squad of them. So knowing that environment the way I do, I'm like, that doesn't carry a lot of weight because I know the get down in that regard. So what you're really talking about is a bunch of dudes who just hustling their way through life. They met some scummy little hood rat chicks, and that's all. So what I'm saying is those chicks got something that was at their level. That's what they can get. Let's be very, very clear. Females are especially if they're over the age of 25, they are painfully aware of what they qualify for. Painfully. You shouldn't be confused. Those guys are probably smart enough to realize, yeah, she can't really do no better. So let me run this little grimy little hood rat's pockets and go on and do that and send her back to her job and whatnot. And it's really, really hard for the professional ones. Let me go ahead and explain what I mean by that. Because that's the confusion that I'm hearing from you. So let me go ahead and clear that out right now. The confusion that you're having is, well, she's a professional, or at least they seem to be professional women. You are assuming that a professional woman has a wealth of professional options, and that's not true. That's not true at all. It isn't. Sex in the City, Desperate Housewives. These are programs, television shows that women gravitated to because the women understood it. If you really want to know what Sex in the City was
90 seconds.
I forget which one it was, Desperate Housewives or Sex in the City. I forget which one. It was the very first episode that really spelled it out, where one of the females was complaining, talking about, the guys are all married or gay. And that's the world through female eyes today, especially for female professionals. As far as they're concerned, there are not a bunch of alpha males available in their profession. So she's a woman with a profession, but because she makes $150,000, $200,000 a year, she believes she deserves a man who makes $400,000, $500,000 a year, simply by virtue of what she makes. So the more because she doesn't want a guy who's beneath her, she wants a man she can look up to. So the more she achieves, the harder it is to satisfy her true emotional goals. Because a guy who makes $400,000, $500,000 a year, he's a 1%er. Which means 99% of the females want him. And he doesn't give her any credit for her profession. So the men she prefers to be with don't care about her profession. So they bypass her. And the men who don't bypass her and care about her profession, they're not the ones they're not producers, so they're not the ones she really wants. But she will settle for him if it means avoiding an empty bed. And a lot of y'all are not understanding. These chicks are out here living lives of quiet desperation, but she's settling for Pookie or Ray Ray or whatever because the alternative is an empty bed. And eventually that wears her down because she believes personally she deserves better. Let me let him go because it sounds like he's being mugged. Somebody give him some help out there. But don't get it confused that just because they're with a dude that everything's okay. She's with him because, damn it, this is the best she could do. And the better options were like, we cool on you. And Pookie will let her be there and stuff. And so all she got to do is get him a chicken sandwich. But for that guy who makes $400,000, $500,000 a year, she's got to work to be there. And if she's told herself that she doesn't have to work for it, well, the rest is predictable. Caller from area code 813. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What?
Caller from 813 has been abducted. Caller from area code 862. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, caller from 862 has been abducted. Let me see if there's anybody on the line here. I've got a bunch of calls, but folks, I will only ask for you once. If you are not paying attention, out you will go. Let me get caller from area code 805. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is Brian from California.
Brian from where at in California?
San Luis Obispo County.
All right, Brian from San Babisco. I'm screwing up. San Babisco. Brian from San Babisco. What's on your mind?
Well, to stick with the topic for today, I was gonna call originally for some self-help, but honestly, I first wanted to talk about my dad. So I see my dad as kind of average, right? He makes above average income, but the reason why I think he's average is because he himself is having problems with his own marriage, and it doesn't really set a good example for my siblings. And I'm trying to figure out if there's anything by extension that I could do for him, and whether you'd have any advice, for example, that I could use.
Okay, you want to know what you can do for your dad because your dad is below average.
Yeah, above average income, below average, with pretty much everything else.
I mean, look, you all have to understand that just because a man is an alpha at his profession, that doesn't make him an alpha. Money doesn't make you an alpha. Being a high achiever in your profession makes you a good employee, but it doesn't make you an alpha. So, brother, you can't. How old is your dad?
My dad is 55 now.
Okay, bro, you can't shape and mold a 55-year-old man. The young fellas are calling me up talking about they beta ass daddies. Dudes, y'all can't coach a 55-year-old man. He's got a lifetime of bad habits. You're not going to be able to fix that at 55.
Right.
There's not anything you can do with that.
I guess that would kind of that might just leak into the second part. So we all live together. It's me, my siblings, my dad, and his wife, right? Since we can't coach a 55-year-old man, I feel like the next person up would have to be me. Because if my siblings aren't looking up to my dad, they're going to be looking up to me.
Correct. And that's the way it's supposed to be. They are people. This is why I say people are going to gravitate to who the strongest male is. And if the father is weak, you're going to become Tywin Lannister, and he's going to become Tydos, and that's just it. That's just the way it is. And by the way, the sooner that transition takes place, the better.
Well, I think that transition's already underway.
The sooner that his flawed example is pushed to the side and a better one is established and people look to you as the head of the family, the sooner that happens, the better, quite frankly. The sooner that happens, the sooner that's established for people to just bypass him and look for you, the sooner you get to that, the family gets to that point, the better things will be for the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight.
Do you think
you got to make sure you got to move them out of the way? If they're not doing their job, that's it. Cryomancer in the chat room, thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to the program, by the way, on Cash App or Super Chat. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that here, especially Cryomancer. Thank you very much for that as well. Mouse, also on the Cash App. Thank you very much to Mouse. Yes, it was somebody named Mouse. We appreciate that, though. And my girl, Myra, thank you very much. Greetings to you also. We appreciate that, to everyone there. Man, Chris, thank you very much for contributing to the program here today. Let me get call of area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, and this is Bella. I'm calling from Maryland, the DMV.
Bella calling from where at in Maryland?
I'm calling from Hyattsville, Maryland.
All right, what's on your mind?
So in terms of the topic, I do agree that women do want above average or above earning men. I know women, I've spoken to women, we have conversations, and they can be upwards of 200 pounds, average looking. They make six figures, so they want a man that makes six figures, and they will not settle for anything less than that. They would rather be alone than to be with a man who is kind of like an average earning, not a bad guy, but just average income. So to your point, yes, you are correct.
I mean, because that's female nature, though. I mean, it really is female nature. Now, the problem is that we live in an era that has fed female delusion. Now, there's where things have changed. It used to be that when a female was delusional, when she was trying to get something that she just couldn't have and whatnot, it used to be that we told them about themselves. It used to be that happened. But today, because we, in this ridiculous attempt to egalitarianize everything, it's fed into female delusion. Females used to get told the damn truth about themselves quickly. If you were the ugly duckling, you found out quick that you didn't make the cut. If you were the little ugly fat chick, you couldn't sit up here and coon and clown and buffoon your way through. The men would show you the damn door. The men would pay you no attention. Now you've got 2 generations of boys, going on 3, raised by single mothers who told them that the quality of the female doesn't matter and that you're supposed to protect females' feelings no matter what. So female delusion has been fed into, whereas in days past, the men would have left her alone. Nobody would want her. She'd either have to turn to prostitution or something, but she would have been totally destitute. Getting her act together would have been a matter of survival. It is no longer a matter of survival. Today, females can be dumb, silly, stupid. They force us to subsidize their stupidity with our tax dollars, but that's what happens now. So foolishness is being subsidized. Whereas it used to be you couldn't eat. You'd be alone. You'd be destitute. She'd be the little old cat lady at the house at the edge of the street or homeless, and she had no friends or anything. That's what it used to be. But today they got whole social media cliques. You go to the damn restaurants, they come rumbling their ass through like a herd of buffalo. A bunch of big fat lonely chicks taking each other on a girl date. Now they're senior citizens showing up in huge herds of loneliness and futility. They basically are taking matrimonial vows to each other. A big-ass group matrimony of a bunch of failed chicks watching each other get older and older. As the years go on, they've gotten older and bigger. Their psyches have torn to shreds. Because that's what happened with no men around. So the society fed into their delusions and in the process completely destroyed them. Completely destroyed them. And now there's no check on the insanity and the foolishness now. There's no check on it. So therein lies the problem. So it used to be, first of all, a female could never eat her way to a size 16. That used to be you couldn't even do it. They talk about women work so much today and that the mothers and grandmothers didn't. Clearly the mothers and grandmothers were a lot better at working. The females today claim to be so smart, and yet their basic nutritional choices could be done better by Oscar the Grouch. So now it's just a situation where they are just unfit. They're just unfit. And you don't want to leave them alone with children because those are the ones who abuse the kids. They're fat, they're ugly, they're buck-toothed, they're alone. No man wants to be around them. Those are the ones that Child Protective Services have to keep coming for, or even the news shows up for. So, yes, it used to be that we kept them segregated and isolated. They were not allowed to reproduce or spawn. If you were a defective female, you were isolated. Now we've subsidized them. They've spread like the virus they are, and here we are. So the men are taking extraordinary measures now. That's the next thing. The men are taking extraordinary measures because biology is taking over. Now that's the thing I want you to understand. Biology is taking over. We are now witnessing an existential threat to men's lives and our well-being. Biology is now taking over, and the instinct to survive is taking over. And the men are making different decisions. And there's going to be a lot of foolishness along the way, but eventually they'll find platforms like this, get the real thing, get it coalesced, and you'll start to see those things change. But the revolt is already happening because of that. But no, dear, even though that's what they want, the real thing is just understand the desire, whether they conform to get it or not, they still want it. And that's female nature. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from, what is this, country code 528. Is this the Sudan calling again?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Okay, he's calling me from his vibraphone. Dude, whoever you are, we are not able to hear you. If you're in a bathroom or on a speakerphone, I can give you 5 seconds to get off of both of them and talk directly into your phone.
Yes, this is Lo calling from Mexico.
Lord. All right, Lo from Mexico. It sounds like El Chapo and the cartel got you tied up in the basement somewhere. What's on your mind?
Well, regarding the subject, I was just saying, for me, what really worked for me was becoming uncomfortable. The more I made myself more uncomfortable, the more I started to not only build self-confidence in myself to change, but also to pursue higher goals. Because I didn't have goals in my past, but once I started taking away,
Lo, I'm not really sure what's going on with your phone, brother. It's really echoey and everything. I'm not really sure what's happening, but try us again next week. He sounds like he's calling us from Carnegie Hall. I don't know what's going on down there, but it's like he's hiding under the bed, hoping that the Chapo and the dudes don't come grab him. So I hope he gets out that bind okay. Call from area code 334. You're on live with business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sorry about that.
Okay. Sorry for you too. Call from area code 615. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Jason? It's Penn from Nashville.
Okay. Who in Nashville?
Han from Nashville.
All right, Han from Nashville. What's on your mind?
Penn from Nashville. But anyway, Jason, I'm just listening to some of these calls, and it bothers me because I resonate a little bit too much with some of the men who are calling up. Kind of in a similar situation where the income is fine, but never really learned how to deal with women and have little experience with them. So just concerned that I'm going to end up like them. Not to be disrespectful, but I really want to avoid that, and I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to not get there.
Okay, what exactly is it you think you're avoiding?
It's like the divorce, 2 kids situation, and then at the still point where you can still get taken by women. I kind of see that if I'm not careful, and I can't really think of. The obvious way to avoid it is to get a vasectomy, but that's drastic, obviously.
Yeah, here's my real question, brother. How old are you?
23.
Okay. The problem is the internet feeds female delusion and it also feeds young male insecurities. What do you do for a living?
I called you last Wednesday, actually. Software engineer.
Okay. And how much are you making a year?
Minus bonus is 140.
And how much money do you have in the bank? And how much money do you have saved in the bank?
Oh, shoot.
Are you logging into your bank account to look it up now? Okay. The problem on the internet, guys, is that what tends to happen is fellas sit around intellectually masturbating these things and you're trying to protect imaginary wealth. So you war game these things and fantasize about situations you're not even in. You're not even in it. You're not even dealing with it, but you're war gaming it. I need to protect the wealth that I don't have. I need to protect the marriage I'm not in. And I'm worried about the babies I haven't given birth to. So, just like we feed into the female's delusions, we also tend to feed into the male's insecurities. Not the place to be. Let me get call from area code 305. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
No.
What is your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, they are having an epileptic seizure. Caller from area code 216. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is D calling from Cleveland.
D from Cleveland. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I had a self-help question. I wanted to get your ideal on hot shot trucking, but sticking with the program, I think complacency in men nowadays, especially when they get to a certain level, they don't want to go any further, and that's kind of why I wanted to call, because you're doing daytime programming, and this is very rare, so I had a chance to call you. I'm in accounting right now, and COVID basically killed our raises last year, but in 2 weeks we're having our reviews, and I should be around 65 to 70, but the cap on the position that I'm going to will be about 80, 85. So that's still not going to get me where I want to go, and I have a lot of energy, but I don't want to change fields because I've only been in here for 4 years and I have plenty of room to grow. So I want to do extra work, and I used to do hot shot trucking at least 10 years ago with a uncle of mine, and he's passed away since. But I figure if I can do some type of regional transport from like Cleveland to Pittsburgh, or the surrounding states, on the weekend, or I can even do a run to Cleveland to Pittsburgh overnight. I know you talk about trucking a lot, but I want to know.
Okay, give me the short version of it. What exactly are you trying to ask me?
I want to be able to get a pickup truck and be able to deliver manufactured products from business to business. Okay. And I know that there is a market for it, but trying to get into it on a regional basis, I know it's kind of tough.
Folks. Okay, we're short on time. We don't need everybody to monologue. We're short on time. I got it. You want to get into hot shot trucking there. You asked about specifically a pickup truck because you don't necessarily have to use a pickup truck for that. Okay, I got it. How old are you?
43.
Okay. How long have you been in the trucking business?
I'm not at all. 0.
So you're looking to transition into that?
Well, I want to do it as a
second brother. That's a yes. Okay, that's a yes or no question. You're looking to transition into trucking.
Okay.
Okay. Do you already own the appropriate type of pickup truck? Because, of course, you probably want to get something closer to a flatbed or something like that instead.
I do not.
So you don't own the truck yet?
No.
Okay. We don't own the truck. We've never worked in the business. We're considering exploring this for supplemental income. Do you have somebody that you work with who can help you? Because my thing is, you're going to go off into this thing by yourself, no connections, no networks, nobody you can talk to about it, and just hope for the best. That doesn't sound very good.
So I'm calling Jason.
Right. That doesn't sound very wise. So have you actually considered working for a company first?
Well, yes, I have. And the direction I was given was like the Amazons and whatnot. And that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more regional, not the local. Pick up at the warehouse and deliver around town. I'm not looking for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing right there. I'm not really sure how much that would be because usually hot shot trucking is, really usually reserved for oil supplies and the oil industry. That's usually really what that's for. Some folks refer to car transport in that way, but they really want, a vehicle that can carry 4 or 5 vehicles at least. But hot shotting is usually really reserved for petroleum and oil services. And here's my thing. I'm listening, and I'm not hearing any experience in dealing with any of those. And it sounds like you're just now, you're looking to do a lot of on-the-job learning, but he doesn't want to go on the job. He wants to invest in a vehicle with which to learn. And that's not usually the way you do that. Usually the way you do that is you learn on somebody else's dime. You go to work for them, take a look at what's required and stuff, and then you get your own truck, and then you start, poaching clients and contracts from them. And that's usually the way that works.
Right.
But you're bypassing the step and saying, well, let me go buy a truck first and then find out if there's any business.
And I know that's not good because of the insurance for the cargo. It's almost $800 a month.
Right.
I won't be making nowhere near that.
Right,
so.
but that's for any business.
Yeah,
we got it backwards here. Instead of spending, you need to spend the time before you spend the money. So let's not invest in a truck first and then find out if there's business. Let's go work for somebody else. Find out if there's business to justify yet another vehicle on the road duplicating the same service. And then we go buy a vehicle and take it from there. But right now, for you to do that, you would be flying completely blind. And the chances of failing become very good because we don't have enough knowledge to figure out if this is even a good idea yet. So invest the time first before you even consider investing the money.
Okay, so not Amazon, not any of the local, but do you have any kind of idea of where to where to start that research at?
Okay, let me
and
try
let
this
me say this
again.
real quick.
Let me try this again.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get into hot shot trucking, my first suggestion to you is you're trying to go into the trucking business, but my first suggestion would be to go to work for a company first. I've said that several times. That would be the first thing that you want to do, because why would you want, if you're going to build your own business, why don't you just go to work for him and go see who he's dealing with and let him introduce you to all those folk? Why not do it on his dime instead?
Okay.
If that doesn't work, you maybe want to you might want to look into getting your CDL instead.
Right. Yeah.
Which is now,
okay, Jason, I appreciate
do
your
you
time.
have your CDL?
No, I do not. No.
Okay.
No, I'm in accounting right now, so like I said, I'm good where I'm at. Just looking for some supplemental, and if there's a chance to change over, I'm fine with it. But I just want to see where this accountant takes me.
Okay.
Pretty good job.
Well, you're gonna want to invest the time before you invest the money. If you are not able to find a company to go to work for that, which is could be an issue. It depends. Oil's picking up right now, though. But if that's not possible, though, like I said, that might be your first warning sign that the market may not be able to handle more. If that doesn't work, though, if you really want to get involved in that, the CDL would open up everything to you. That would really open up everything, to be totally honest. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. He wants to be an accountant and a truck driver. Okay, accountant, truck driver, astronaut. I'm trying to figure out why the accountant thing's not working, because I'm like, dude, shouldn't you have your CPA? I don't have time to get into that because we're short. We've already been at this over 3 hours now, so I'm kind of short on that. But how you end up being an accountant looking for a part-time gig, we need to get our accountant thing together a little bit better. If you don't have your CPA, that's what you need to be doing. If there's a reason you don't have the CPA, you want to deal with that. Let me get caller from area code 410. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is Jared from Ohio. I'm usually from Baltimore, but I wanted to say thank you. I got on the ship, got my merchant mariner's credential, got my ensign in the military. I just started my job, so I'm working good 60 to 80 hours a week. I'm 25.
Okay, now I spoke to you before about your merchant marine, did I not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were the guy who had the young lady. We were talking about a female, though. If I remember correctly, we were talking about a female also. How'd that work out?
Oh, it didn't work out so well.
It's okay. That's okay.
My main thing, what I'm trying to do is I'm really thinking about gathering my resources first and cycling all of my options when I get to around 36 to 40. My main thing is question I had is I know about how the male advantage works, but when you was able to do it, do you still have to cycle through relationships? I'm trying to work on getting my abundance by just trying to work on being alone, not needing any woman to
Yeah, I was about to address that. I saw that question in the chat room. I was about to address that when I got off the phone with Mr. Accountant. First of all, by abundance, I need some clarity on exactly what you meant by abundance. Abundance in what way?
Being like an alpha in a relationship. So that last relationship kind of did it over for me, where I was kind of frustrated at first with all the MGTOW BS because I understood women but didn't understand men. And now after that relationship, it kind of gave clarity where I understand men, why we cycle options, why we, masculine frame, stuff like that.
Okay, well, first of all...
It's weird, but...
First of all, like I said, you're 25 years old, so you're still filling these things out. To be totally honest with you, it comes with experience, okay? It's like anything else in life. It really, really is. And when you're new to these things, you're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of things not ending well. And the only thing that gets you over that is becoming more of a grizzled veteran of it. Once you've seen it and been there and done that, and it's like, hey, it didn't kill me. It certainly annoyed the hell out of me for a little while, but it didn't kill me. So the truth of the matter is, like I say, the only way that you learn how to deal with these experiences is by going through these experiences. See, that's where females usually have males beat, because they get approached much earlier than us. They actually get introduced to dealing with these interpersonal relationships sooner than we do. So this idea that women mature faster than men, that's really a fallacy. A huge major one that's been talked about for decades. That statement, people completely misunderstand what that means. But they get accustomed and introduced to that process quicker than we do. So as a result, they get the hang of the emotional ropes quicker than we do. And it's usually for us, we're out damn near out of high school or later before we even get started in that regard. Because what makes a female valuable develops far quicker than what makes a male valuable. So what gives you leverage in relationships, which is what you're talking about, abundance, what gives you leverage, it takes us time to develop that. Because females can get sex.
Becoming a producer.
Yeah, females can get sex anywhere. They can't get a producer anywhere. They can't get an alpha anywhere. A man who is self-assured, a man who doesn't just think he's the smartest person in the room, he actually is. A guy who is actually learned and cultured and intelligent and articulate and accomplished. He ain't just blowing smoke up people's ears. He's actually got the proof that he knows what he's talking about. He's got proof positive of it. That takes time, man. It takes time. And you can't have confidence in accomplishments that you haven't made. So that's why as men, we hit our peak, we hit our peak or hopefully your stride in your 30s. Well, what do we mean when we say that? Because I keep using that phrase and whatnot. By the time you hit your 30s, man, you learn the ropes. You learn the ropes. You know what you can do. Sex isn't new to you. Females are not new to you. None of these experiences are new to you at that point. Now, because here's the difference between men and women. A man doesn't feel comfortable in relationships until he's got authority, until he's got power. A woman doesn't feel comfortable in a relationship until she has security. Now, those are two separate things. So what she's looking for and what you're looking for are two separate things. One of you wants something that's a lot harder to come by, and the requirements are different. So when you speak about abundance, what you really mean is leverage. You won't develop that until you learn the ropes of everything. So another thing I'm going to advise you to there is women can't be strangers to you and can't be new. So, but right now, and I think I talked about this with you before, you don't even really need to worry about that right now. You really don't. What you need to concentrate on is solidifying your program. And once that's solidified, the female conforms to your program. Because now you have an agenda. You got something for her to plug into. And if she's now at that point, now they have to be candidates and they got to apply and they got to plug into it. And that's your job is to make
You're
sure
right.
they're
I've
proper
noticed
candidates. So you got to give them something to plug into. You're still building the apparatus that they will plug into. You got a hell of a head start. You're in the right place, but you're still building it. You're still building it. So once you get that built and solidified, now you can tell her what her place in the bigger picture will be. But part of the confusion is you can't have abundance if you don't even know what you got them here for. You can't be Hugh Hefner just stacking up females. Get your stuff together. And first of all, that should be the priority. Women are a side effect of being successful. Women are a side effect of being excellent at what you do. Money is a side effect of being excellent at what you do. If your money is low, it's probably because you're not very good at what you do.
I'm saying.
But if somebody's money is good, it's usually because they're good at what they do. Well, guess what? Females follow success. And the higher your level of success, the more appealing to females you will be. So you don't even have to struggle to get them. What you need to focus on is being excellent. Because the problem with the MGTOWs, posers, and everybody else is they teach y'all to chase women. I don't teach you to chase women. I teach you to attract what you want in life. So as opposed to running around trying to catch bees, let me show you how to put something out that attracts bees. That attracts whatever it is you want. And they will come to you. This is a foreign concept to those guys. The idea that men can attract what they want, including females. But get your stuff solidified, and the stronger it is, the more attraction you'll be able to generate. So focus on that. And I know it seems like, well, we're going in a totally opposite direction. And it's like, well, yeah, all the females are over there. Yeah, there's the problem. If I let you walk that way, you're chasing them. You chase being good. You chase being excellent. You chase excelling. You chase being the best. And they're going to leave where they are and come over here.
I have a question
that's the way
also.
that works.
I have a roommate who is 20 years old, white girl. I'm black. She was raised without a father. She already screwed up dealing with a bad guy one time, and I showed her the video of playing the field too long, but it doesn't seem to kind of resonate too much. Do you think I have to drive her down to Detroit and show her exactly what the hell is going to happen if she keeps making bad decisions?
No.
Is it too far gone?
Do not drive her anywhere. That is a waste of time. It is a waste of resources. If you telling her was not enough, you need to fall back and let life show her now. But do not get her pregnant. Do not get entangled with her. And
no, I'm not entangled with her at all. No, she's strictly roommate.
Sounds like you are.
She's like a little sister to me. She's not attractive to me.
Okay.
You know, I've been through enough women where I'm not hungry for sex like I am. Like I said, I've been on my purpose. I'm on this ship. I'm gonna try to see if I can knock out as many days as possible. Self-improvement. I lost 50 pounds in 5 months, so I'm getting all my stuff straight.
Here's my thing, brother.
It was just a side project.
Okay, well, here's my thing. Your situation right now is very delicate and very fragile. You just gotta have a situation with a female that wasn't really positively feeding into what you were doing, or at least she wasn't up to the task. I am most concerned about where you're going. I don't want anything getting in your way. I don't want anything distracting you. It is hard enough for a black male in this country and on this planet to make anything pop off for himself. I don't want anything distracting you right now. So anything that is a distraction, anything that is not feeding into what you need, it needs to go. And if she doesn't have her act together, she is not focused, brother, you don't have the time or the ability to commit to, quote, fixing her. If she's not listening to you, simply say it. At this point, you need to fall back. Experience is going to teach her, because you don't know what got her where she is. You don't know what it was that led her there. And if she's a grown woman, it's been going on for decades and is far deeper than anything you could deal with. You're not going to be able to take her on a road trip and she has an epiphany. She might be cool with you. She might like you and everything. But at the end of the day, you don't have the time to commit to, quote, fixing her. Dude, you're trying to build a machine. You ain't got time for that. You don't have time for that.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm going to subscribe to your Patreon. You've been a very valuable asset to my life.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I'm going to try one more call here. Let me get caller from area code 731. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jason calling from Macon, Georgia.
Jason from Macon, what's on your mind?
I've been listening to your advice. I took your advice. First time caller, but I took your advice as far as other callers. Got my CDL. Been over the road for about 4 months. Flatbed. Got a local job. And I got my son back full time. But I'm really asking the question on this credit issue. I have a lot of credit getting out of the military, and after the military, the things that I've done after the military? Do I need to file bankruptcy? That's what I was going to do. And then I met somebody who was saying I need to credit repair. But I'm not sure about.
Okay.
Just want to get your insight on that.
You say I have a lot of credit after I got out of the military. Did you mean to say you have a lot of debt?
Yes, sir. A lot of debt. Yes, sir.
Okay. What type of debt?
Credit card debt. That's the main thing. Credit card debt and personal loans as well.
Okay. How old are you?
29.
Boy. How much in debt do you owe?
70,000.
And how much do you make a year?
Right now, I'm starting my new job Monday, local route. I was OTR before that. So it's looking around this year be between 60 to 70,000.
Okay. Well, basically you owe as much as you make right now. How long have you owed those debts? And have they gone into collections?
They went to collection. I'd say most of them are 3 years old.
Okay. Then don't do anything about them.
Okay.
You didn't hear it from me because I'm a firm believer in folks paying their debts. The only reason why I'm saying not to, brothers, the damage has already been done. If they send it to collections, then it's already on your credit report. The only way you could get that taken off is if they agreed to report to the credit agencies to remove it. That's a very risky proposition. It very rarely works. If you contact them, they can start the 7-year clock all over again. If they've already reported it to collections, it literally will not help you to pay it. Like, it won't help you to pay it. It'll fall off in another 4 years. Anyway, you're 29 years old. By then, you're going to be 33. And you'll just be hitting your financial stride as illustrated by the chart that I show you all, the peak value chart, which I've shown several times during the program here today. But yeah, I mean, it's not really going to do you a lot of good. Quite frankly, it's not going to do you a lot of good to pay that. You could pay it, but the damage is done. It'll still be a black mark on your credit report for the next 4 years, no matter what you do now. So in other people's cases, I might tell them to try to work something out. In yours, even if you paid them every dollar today, that collection is still going to be sitting on your credit report. So it does you no good.
Okay. I've been working with the lawyer for the past 3 months with the bankruptcy.
Okay.
But
the only way that would work, and like I say, if you have a car for repossession or something, you certainly would want to prevent that, because that would make it hard for you to get another one and stuff. So if we're dealing with repossessions or foreclosures, that's one thing. Now, is that what we're dealing with? Because all you mentioned was credit card debt and loans.
Correct.
Okay. Have they filed some type of garnishment on you or something?
The smallest one they filed was
okay, that's a yes or no question. Has some type of garnishment been filed on you?
Yes, sir. In October 2020.
Okay, but you said that was for $1,200.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just going to be honest with you. If it were me, I'd see if I could just pay that one off and leave the rest of them alone. Now, if the rest of them start suing you and getting judgments, now that's a different matter, because that plays havoc with your finances. It's impossible to be able to do your finances when you got some judge somewhere arbitrarily giving them authority to knock $200 and $300 off your paycheck. That would play havoc with your finances. But if you just want it from me, at this point right now, I'm not 100% sold on the bankruptcy thing, because it is different. If folk are out there getting judgments against you, now we need to do bankruptcy. Because otherwise, a judge is just going to give them authority to start knocking you off. And you don't want that happening. And my concern is that there's already been one garnishment. If the others are watching, they might see that. And if garnishment is working, it is possible the others might try to follow suit. It is possible. Not guaranteed. Can't even say it's likely. But yeah, it becomes a real possibility they might follow suit in that regard. If you file a bankruptcy, like I say, you could reorganize your debts. That'd be up to you. The only issue is that in none of these circumstances will it go away. Bankruptcy is not going to remove any of this. Only now you'll have a bankruptcy on your credit report. And that could be there for 10 years. So, and my thing is, I'm looking at you going into your 30s. I just don't want you to get into your late 30s and just be starting. You see what I mean? I don't want you to get there. So I know if once these things get 7 years old, they're going to fall off. Unless, of course, something new is on there. So if somebody's got a garnishment or something, that might last a little bit longer. You file a bankruptcy, that'll be till you're 40, basically. I would like to avoid that. If you got one that's for $1,200, because you make enough money to be able to pay that, to be totally honest. Get that off your back.
Yes, sir.
If it's me, I'm just letting you know. I would get that off my back and see what happens with the others. And if nothing happens, I would leave them alone. The damage is already done.
How would you move forward with with me building my credit up with this?
Oh, I mean, just basically what you're going to do there is just leave those alone, and you're going to need to wait a couple of years. You're going to need to wait a couple of years to let those get a little bit older, because as time goes on, they have much less weight on your credit report. And then you just start over with a secured credit card, a secured loan, just the basics. Not a prepaid credit card, but a secured. So get a secured credit card, get a secured loan. If it's me, I'm waiting a couple of years. In your case, you're going to want to get $20,000, $30,000 in the bank. Stop being cash poor. Get you some savings in the bank. Get you some income in the bank so that you're not cash poor. Preferably have 6 months income in the bank. Actually, preferably. Stop being cash poor. And in a couple of years, just save up as much as you can over the next 24 months. And then in a couple of years, start a secured credit card. A few months after that, get you a secured loan. A few months after that, you'll probably start getting offers for credit cards, unsecured, no annual fee, and off you go. But no, you're going to be a couple of years from that right now. Right now, you need to focus on the cash poor part. How much in savings do you have in the bank?
2,000.
Okay, you ain't got nothing. So that's actually problem number one. You're cash poor. So you need to fix that issue before you do anything. Get you some savings up under you. Get you some money up under your belt, so you're not sitting up here with nothing. If you lost your job tomorrow, you just flat ass broken homeless. Get that off your back. Get some savings, so you're actually sitting on some change. I mean, some real money. Get you $20,000 in savings. Now you're ready for battle.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your information. Appreciate what you do. I've been living by it for about a year now, and everything you've been telling me through via other callers has been working. So I'm gonna take this information as well.
Okay. Well,
and that thing you said with the baby mother, when the baby mother asked the black man does she want him full time, that was me a couple years ago as far as saying nigga slanging. But this time, I took upon that challenge, and I had a position that I could say yeah. So I appreciate that too.
Well, life's a lot easier when you're dealing with it from a position of power, and as a man, you can't really feel like a man if you're not dealing with things from a position of power. I don't discuss dating here. I discuss power dynamics, and that's what the other people just cannot do. They can't actually discuss power dynamics with you all. So a man doesn't feel like a man if he's not powerful. He doesn't feel like one if he's not powerful. That's just it. So if you have that, when you have that taken care of, you're going to feel about things differently and approach it a lot differently. So, but once again, and focus on yourself. That's an important thing right now. You've been through a lot of things, but right now this is a rebuilding season. No time for females, no time for vacation, and no time for goofing off. Yeah, it might have been a grind for the last 10 years in the military and whatnot, but we got to keep at it for a little bit longer here. And plus, you built for this, so you built for this. And you're at the perfect age to be doing it too. You're 29 years old. You don't have a bunch of health issues. If you're going to be starting over, this is the time to be starting over. I'd rather you be doing it at 29 than 39. So if I was ever going to have you starting over, right here, right now is the time to do it. Just be serious, stay focused, spend the next 2 years doing what I've told you. I would like for you to give me a call back in 12 months.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to see how things are doing. If you're not a member of my Patreon, you definitely want to join me there as well, because we have some exclusive stuff that I deal with, and I'm able to talk to people one-on-one over there as well. But check back with me in a year. I'd like to see how your progress is going.
Yes, sir. B1.
But first, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, I got a lot of these cats out here. Like I say, if you sit down, you listen, you plug into it and whatnot, we'll get you straightened on that. I'm a firm believer that once they send your stuff to collections, there's nothing you can do about it. If they file a garnishment, okay, get that off your back. But as far as, they filed collections, let me pay this off. The damage is already done. There's nothing you can do about that unless you get them to remove it from your credit. So I know, and some of my banker friends not going to like I'm telling people that, but I mean, that's just the truth. Once they file on you, there's nothing you can do unless you can get them to report to the credit agencies to remove it. But that's a process, and nobody likes to call the credit agencies and remove things. They don't like to do that. So Just know that that's what you have there. That's what you have there. Women hate average men. Guess what? Men hate average men too, by the way. That's the way that goes. But I'm glad you all were able to join us here tonight. I wanted to go ahead and do a broadcast here. Miami. We're coming to Miami soon. I'm putting that together here. I'm going to be reporting to you all live from my next iHustling. My last iHustling I did in Atlanta, but this time we're doing it in Miami. So my patrons, you're going to want to be looking out for that. I'm probably going to bring that to Patreon. So be looking for that over there. But Miami, it's coming. A six-figure women's club. That one's coming too, as a matter of fact. I've had a few things I've been working on in that regard, but we got some more things there coming. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to tonight's program on Super Chat or Cash App. Thank you all very much for patronizing it here. We appreciate that as well. New stuff is coming. Be on the lookout for that also. If you are new here to this program, welcome to The Business. The program that laid the foundation upon which all of your red pill, MGTOW, high-value posers, alpha male idiots, wannabes, and others have stolen and ripped off everything that they're regurgitating to the world. They'll be saying it next week after they've listened to it today, but you heard it today, so if you want to be ahead of the curve, listen to us. This is what we do. Click that red subscribe button, stay on top of things, be the first in the know. And this concludes today's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.